of course, it's a team. Myself and Chase Oliver. Chase, how are you doing this evening?
I'm doing good, man. Another beautiful Friday. My pick last night won. It was a stressful game, but they won somehow. They did it.
That was a magnificent game of Thursday night football. I saw that graphic of Burrow's thrown for like 8,000 fucking yards and 2,300 touchdowns, and Chase has caught 37 passes for 3,000 yards and 32 touchdowns, and somehow the Bengals are 0-2 in those games. Absolutely ridiculous. But we are here to talk about the rest of the week 10 games here on the True Yield Heat Sports Entertainment channel. Thank you all for tuning in. Remember to hit that like button, subscribe if you have not already. We appreciate all of the support. We have been doing we've been doing pretty well these past couple weeks, and let's show you where we stood before the bye. We For week 8, Chase went 10-6. I went 12-4. So doing well, doing well.
What a
And
week.
our totals for the season you can see there. But let's talk about this week 10. So we got 4 teams on bye. We have the Browns on bye. We have the Packers on bye, the Raiders, and the Seahawks. This has been a really interesting season so far. I guess we are now technically past the quote unquote halfway point because 17 game season or 18 weeks, but 17 games. We're now in week 10. So it's going to be a race to the finish now. We had the trade deadline come and go. A couple players got moved. Nothing too crazy with the names that got moved, but some teams getting people of need, especially a team like the Commanders. Marshawn Lattimore traded from the New Orleans Saints to the Washington Commanders, ending the historic fight forever feud between Marshawn Lattimore and Mike Evans. We will forever be robbed, but I guess maybe that means that Mike Evans should move to an NFC East team. I don't think the Tampa Bay Buccaneers fans or the organization would want him to do that. I think they want him to retire a Buccaneer. But for the fans, maybe for the fans of the NFL, because if you guys saw on NFL hate memes or a page like it, the clips of the feud, the historic feud between Marshawn Lattimore and Mike Evans, it basically was an on-site feud
Yeah, they
between those
hated
two
each other.
guys.
They were always
They
fighting.
absolutely hate each other. But there were a few other names that were traded, but nobody, it kind of was a relatively silent trade deadline. And it got me thinking, we saw Amari Cooper go. We saw different people get traded, larger names, DeAndre Hopkins from the Titans to the Chiefs. All that happened before the trade deadline. Or before the actual week of the trade deadline. And I was thinking they added a week for everybody, right? They extended the season, but they didn't move the trade deadline. And
Yeah.
my thought was, if you're going to extend the season, then you're making it more difficult for teams to kind of know by the time of the trade deadline where they stand and who they might need. So if it were me, if I was the NFL, I would move the trade deadline from a week 9 to a week 11, because I think you're giving, even though you're extending the season by 1 week, you move the trade deadline by 2, because by
Yeah.
week 11 teams really know where they stand and if they need to make a late season push. And so it helps them, one, not just properly evaluate their teams, but also properly evaluate their draft picks, particularly if they're trading draft picks for the next year. They know better where in the pecking order where they're going to be. But that's that's all in the past. Let's talk about week 10, and we start with our Germany game, our Munich game. The Panthers are technically the home team, but they are. I don't know if there are any Panthers in Germany or Munich, nonetheless. But they are considered the home team for this game. The Giants also traveling to Munich to take them on, and the Giants, man, they have just been I don't even want to say hit or miss because it's such a weird team, this Giants team. Daniel Jones hasn't thrown a touchdown in the Giants stadium, or the Giants/Jets stadium in MetLife. So maybe that bodes well for them. But at the same time, they have started to cool off Malik Neighbors. Now, whether that's a question of teams being able to guard him better, whether that's a question of them actually not trying to send him back to the hospital after Danny Dimes was sending him on hospital hits basically and helped to give him that concussion. I don't know, but Neighbors has been kind of the engine that moved that offense. On the flip side, they did find out that Tyrone Tracy can be somebody that can make that offense move. And Devin Singletary, I'm sorry, sir, you're RB2 now. One might even argue you could be RB3 depending on how Eric Gray and some of the other people on that team look. But one thing that's nice about that is that it takes the pressure off of Malik Neighbors to constantly be making these catches, constantly be getting these targets. And so for fantasy owners, that kind of sucks. But for Malik Neighbors' long-term career, that's great. That's great. And that's kind of what the Giants need. It's fine to lean on I think it was 4th round running back in order to not endanger your 1st round draft pick. But speaking of 1st round draft picks, on the flip side, the Panthers have Bryce Young back. They've got Chase's boy back.
Yes,
and
he's back.
He's actually not looked terrible. They finally pick up a win against the New Orleans Saints last week. And yes, it's a hampered Saints team, et cetera, finally got Dennis Allen fired. Saints fans rejoiced. I saw a lot of the Goldberg meme, a video of you're next to Dolph Ziggler doing the stand-in for the Saints fans talking to Derek Carr. But I mean, if you're going to say Derek Carr is gone, what are you going to do? Actually, you should have seen enough of Spencer Rattler at this point to know that he's not really going to do much for you. And Jake Haener is not that much better than Spencer Rattler. And sure, you could say the season is lost, but if you're going to lose, you might as well just lose with Derek Carr and try to secure that higher pick, which you can use towards the quarterback of the future. But the Panthers looking really, really good, and Chuba Hubbard gets that long-term deal. They're going to be getting Jonathan Brooks for this game. That's going to be really interesting. You can kind of see for the fantasy owners or the dynasty owners who have Jonathan Brooks, kind of sucks to see Chuba Hubbard get that deal. However, all it takes is 1 or 2 games of Chuba Hubbard not being great and Jonathan Brooks actually stepping in and getting the job done. And we've seen many a running back committee form, many like Tyrone Tracy, great example, took the job from Devin Singletary. So a lot of people are hoping that could be the case for Brooks. We'll see. Coming off of an ACL tear, this will be his first football action in a while, this rookie. But a lot of people are wondering with the Panthers, who's going to be their primary target now. They are getting Thielen back. But they lost Deontay Johnson to the Ravens, casualty of the trade deadline. They also lost Jonathan Mingo to the Cowboys, which is hilarious that the Cowboys traded a 4th for Jonathan Mingo, a 2nd-round pick, but they traded Amari Cooper away for a 5th-round pick. That was when Cooper was in his prime. So, hey, Jerry Jones says you can't question his decision-making because he knows what he's doing, but, I mean, I guess we can. This is going to be an interesting one. I think I give the edge to the Giants just because there's more skilled players on their offense than there is on the Panthers offense. No offense to Xavier Legette, who's been playing really well. And no offense to Thielen come back from the injury, or to Chuba Hubbard, who has been one of the best running backs in the league. But the Panthers defense is nowhere near as good as the Giants defense. The Giants defense has been keeping them in these games. Let's not forget that Sunday Night Football game where they kept Joe Burrow, who threw, like I said, 8,700 touchdowns against the Ravens in 2 games. They kept him to 0 passing touchdowns. He only got 1 rushing touchdown. The Giants defense can be stout, and I don't think the Panthers can. I'm going to give this one to the Giants. How do you feel?
Yeah, this is a horrible fucking European game. I can't believe we're sending this. We're sending this to Germany. We're trying to show the German fans this is what American football's like. The Giants and the Panthers. Wow. If World War III starts, guys, this will be the start of it. You may think it was because of who was just elected as president of the United States. No, it's because we sent the Giants and the Panthers to Germany, and the Germans were pissed. Yeah, the Panthers, they're in a weird situation because like they did trade like Deontay Johnson and Mingo, who were like supposed to be like Johnson was supposed to be like, oh well, this is a guy for Bryce Young, and they traded him to the Ravens, and he hasn't done much since getting there. Mingo was a guy that they really liked and they were hoping to pan out, but I don't know, he's just never really seemed to get into the rotation. It's like this Jalen Coker character, and David Moore has found his way back into the league. I think Panther fans are confused. They say D Moore, and they're like, "Oh, did we get DJ Moore back?" No, just David Moore somehow, some way, still on an NFL football team. But yeah, I don't understand. Like, I don't understand what the Panthers were doing. Like, building up draft capital, and it almost feels like they're kind of like they want to be in on Young, but at the same time, it's like they're not in on Young. And that's how I feel watching the Giants too, where I'm like, they want to prove that they can win with Daniel Jones, but they're not designing plays to win with Daniel Jones. And but overall, the Giants, they're still a better football team than the Panthers. They have their defense still. The offense is still going with Neighbors and Tyrone Tracy and Slayton when he can catch some of the footballs that Daniel Jones throws to him. So yeah, they're just a better football team. The Panthers, like that defense is just honestly, that defense is just horrible. It's just a bunch of like fifth stringers, fourth stringers playing. They only have like I think one original starter from their original 11 playing. Like that's not winning defense. Like you can't win. You can't win if like most of your main starters are out. Like you can't win with like that in the National Football League for long. So yeah, the Giants. They're heavy favorites, and they should still remain heavy favorites. If the Giants lose this game, like the only reason why the Giants would lose this game is because they're just like, even though they're like 2-7, they're like the 7th pick in the NFL draft this year. So they're kind of like, hey man, we really need one of these quarterbacks, like bad. So they lose this game on purpose, but the Giants really need to start. I'm not saying trusting Daniel Jones more, but making it easier for Daniel Jones. Because when I watched the game against the Commanders, it absolutely made no sense. Some of the play calls they were doing, they were playing it too safe. It was just like they relied on the run way too much, and it wasn't like they were like using the run to set up play action. They were like using the run to set up short passes that did absolutely nothing. The Commanders just had no respect for them at the end of the day, and so it's kind of like, look, I get it. Like Jones isn't the best. Like he's not like this top end starter in the NFL. You know, I don't think I honestly will be surprised if he makes it another year as a starting quarterback in the NFL. But you guys did pay him and you guys did believe in him. Start designing better play calls for him. Like enough with like these short passes, these safe passes, or the passes where he has to hold on to the ball for a long time. Like make it easy for him. Find a way to get him opportunities to get the ball in the playmaker's hands, because I look at Malik Neighbors, I look at that Theo Johnson kid that they have, the tight end. I look at Wan'Dale Robinson, even Slayton.
They've proven that these receivers can make plays. That they can make the catches.
They're playmaker. Like get them in space, find ways to get them open, and let them use the speed that they have and the athleticism that they have to beat out the defenders. Like those are the plays you should be calling, not like these like plays behind the line of scrimmage where your backup left tackle and your backup left guard can't freaking reach the cornerbacks. Like, what are we doing here? Like you're setting up your players for failure. Like those are the play calls I'm seeing. Like run some routes where Wan'Dale Robinson can just be open and see if he can cut up field for like 5 or 6 yards, because you know he gets a lot of catches, but his yards are terrible. Like if you look at Wan'Dale Robinson's stats, it's horrible. Like this guy should be a lot better as a wide receiver too for them. But yeah, I just think they're setting up Jones for failure sometimes when watching the games. But yeah, they're a better team than the Panthers. I got the Giants winning. They're like, I don't know. It's like the Panthers, like you only have like 4 receivers. Like you don't have Like what? Chuba Hubbard going to play wide receiver? I know he can catch.
Yeah,
But
it's weird. It's I don't really know what their strategy is. But speaking of which, let's do a quick check it on Tankathon, because these are two teams that have very high draft picks. So right now, the Panthers have the number 4 overall pick, and the Giants have the number 7 overall pick. So for right now, Tankathon is suggesting that the Panthers draft Tet McMillan, and because according this current Tankathon setup, they have the Browns at 5 taking Shedeur Sanders, and the Raiders at 6 taking Cam Ward. They've got
what?
the Giants at 7 taking Will Campbell, the offensive tackle out of LSU.
Who's 1 and 2, 3, 4? Who's 1
So,
and 2 and 3?
Right now, 1 is the Patriots, Travis Hunter, and number 2 is the Jaguars with Will Johnson, the cornerback out of Michigan. And 3 is the Saints with Mason Graham, defensive lineman out of Michigan.
There's no way that if they're at number 3, they're not taking Shedeur or Cam Ward. That's like Mason Graham's good. Like, he's obviously a tremendous player from Michigan. Obviously Michigan's not having the best season coming off a national championship, but that has to be said. They lost a lot of players in the draft, and they lost their great head coach, and now they're kind of being like they're rebuild. They're kind of in a light rebuild. They'll find a way because they have so much great backing. They have such great alumni that Michigan will find their way back to the college football playoff and college football prominency soon enough. But if you're number 3 at the Saints, and you don't take, even if you're like, you're not big on Shedeur, like Shedeur's like, I ain't going there because his dad said so, and you're not big on Cam Ward, I still don't see how you don't take Carson Beck or like a Milroe at this position. Like, you're taking a quarterback.
So the thing is, you got to remember, Tankathon does not take into consideration teams trading out of picks.
Yeah,
you can see a situation where the Saints trade out of 3 to back down, and that's where they take the quarterback. Because Carson Beck, like, now I am now a Georgia fan, but watching him, I don't think he's a top 5 draft pick. Jalen Milroe, maybe you could make an argument because he's got that dual threat capability. So I don't know if but I don't know if he's necessarily a top 3 or a top 5 pick if somebody like Cam Ward is on the board, so to speak. So I could see if they are thinking about one of those two, I could see them trading out of 3 to let another team. Maybe there's a team that says, hey, I don't want the Panthers getting Tet McMillan at 4, right? Mm-hmm. I would much rather have him on my team. And that's where, some kind of a trade happens. You could see something like that. Tankathon isn't taking that to consideration there, but so you never know. Like, we always have these interesting draft picks. But if you're going with the Giants, let's go to our next pick, or our next team to talk about, which includes the current number 1 overall pick, the New England Patriots, traveling to Chicago, coming to play the Chicago Bears. Now, normally, guys, we talk about how we are using the odds as they are on a Tuesday, but we are coming to you today on a Friday. So these odds are much more in line with what they would look like on Sunday. And I think this one is a little bit interesting because I don't think the Bears should be as favored as they are. And part of the big reason why I think that is because a few hours ago, the Bears announced that due to injury, they're going to be facing off against the Patriots without their 2 starting offensive tackles. Left tackle Braxton Jones, his knee, he's going to miss his 2nd consecutive game. And the right tackle, Darnell Wright, who sustained an injury during the 4th quarter in Arizona, was unable to practice at all the entire week. They're going to be without their backup tackle, who did not practice this week and has been ruled out Sunday, but they will get back Ryan Bates, who's going to be activated from injured reserve, who's desperately going to be needed if you're missing your 2 starting tackles as well as a backup tackle. So New England, who really has not had an issue on defense coming into this game, they haven't been a bad defense. They've just not gotten that great offensive play, especially when Jacoby Brissett was there. So the stats look a little weird. They have a very good opportunity to generate pass rush, to come after the quarterback. Now, Caleb Williams, to his credit, is good at evading pressure. And he's got a bunch of people to throw to, even if he completely forgot that Cole Kmet was on his team and didn't target him once last week. He put up a perfect donut. It wasn't even a donut in fantasy from, like 0 for 1, 0 for 2 or 3 on targets or something like that. He just didn't catch the ball. He wasn't even targeted at all.
It's insane.
And that doesn't make any sense to me when he's one of the better tight ends in football.
Yeah.
But, there is Odunze. There is Keenan Allen, who hasn't broken down yet magically. There is DJ Moore, who famously
he gave up.
He pulled a Big Tony. He pulled himself from the game.
Yeah, he said, screw this. He's going to get sacked. Walked off. Could have actually been about that ball. Yeah, just left. Crazy.
They do have DeAndre Swift. They do have Roshan Johnson. Khalil Herbert, a guy who was traded with the trade deadline, went to the Bengals because Zach Moss went to injured reserve and is done for the season. But Khalil Herbert, wasn't that great of a running back beforehand and showed on his first carry when he dropped the ball in that Ravens game yesterday. He recovered it, but he dropped the ball that he wasn't going to be challenging Swift or Johnson for the starting running back role. On the flip side, the Patriots continuing to look good, continuing to develop Drake May and get better each week. This is a team that really does need a pass catcher. That's probably why they are pegged right now to get Travis Hunter. I think this could be a bit of an upset. I'm going to cautiously take the Patriots.
Oh.
But I think the line should at least be closer. Like the 275 and 225, that just is a little weird to me. If this was like more of a, negative 200 to plus 180 or plus 160, I could feel a little like it would make more sense to me. But I don't know. Patriots to me just look like they could get a win here. I don't know if they want to, like they shouldn't. They should be actively.
You have one of the
best to lose and doing their I should not lose, doing their best to not win. But players play for a reason, right? Like Dennis Allen lost control of the locker room. There was concern with Antonio Pierce that he's losing the locker room. Players still want to compete, and you never know. Like those players may not want to be back if this is what they see from the team. So Patriots, you still got to compete. I'm going to give this one to the Patriots. How you feel about your second favorite team?
The Bears are just so, I don't know. I feel like they stink. Like I just want to say they stink. Like it's like such fool's gold with these guys, and it will look so bad for Caleb. It's like you lose to Jaden Daniels, and then if you lose to Drake May, and May. Let's be real. Caleb has everything. Like I'm just gonna, like Bears fans will be like, "Oh, he doesn't have an offensive line." Who the fuck is protecting Drake May? Drake May has no offensive line. The reason why they didn't want to put him out there was because they were afraid he was going to get killed. He has no receivers worth a damn at all. Like he has nothing, and yet this guy is literally trying. Like it's so weird saying that the Patriots are actually like a good a good like team you would put into 4-box because Drake May is actually like fun to watch. like May's running around like a maniac. He's dealing he's gonna make like the bad overthrow because he's a rookie. He doesn't know where to place the ball. He's gonna make mistakes like that. Like the game-ending interception, that was such a rookie interception. Like that's like, yep, you're a rookie. I can tell because you tried too much on that play. You tried to gain it all. You could have taken the check down, but you were trying for the win and stuff. And sometimes I like that in a quarterback, that you're trying to win. Well, Caleb Williams is like, look, yeah, I know the offensive line ain't good. You have a running back that is a Pro Bowl quality running back, could potentially be an all-pro quality running back if he gets the touches and the yards that he needs. You have a really good backup running back who would be starting on many other football teams. You have 3 wide receiver number ones, not just one. You have 3 of them that you can throw to, and you have a good supporting cast of backup wide receivers that were wide receiver 2s for most teams. And then you look at Cole Kmet and Gerald Everett. Like, yes, I know Gerald Everett has been horrible this year, but still, 2 functional tight ends that can actually do shit. And then Mercedes Lewis is still around. He's still here after all these years. Mercedes Lewis. So it's like I look at the Bears and I'm just like, bro, like, how are you not doing anything on offense? And it's setting up the defense for failure because all the Bears do is 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out, and then the defense that is still pretty solid. It's not as great as we thought it was going to be, but still a solid defense that can force turnovers. And it's like you're not giving them breathing room at all. Like the Patriots,
that's one of the things, man. Like I was saying about the Patriots defense, like the Patriots defense is not bad at all.
Yeah, no, it's solid. It's
like statistically, they just are looking terrible because of all of those games with that Drake May, that Jacoby Brissett was playing, and those 3 and outs. To your point, like now the Bears are starting to be in that position as well. They're still ranked number 4 overall in defense, but like you can play on them. You can score on them.
Yeah, like this line is so crazy to me that the Bears are minus 275. Like this should be like Bears. Like I'm looking at the Commanders Steeler line. That should be the line for this game.
Yeah,
like, What are we talking about here? Like the Bears, these overwhelming. Like this team got their asses kicked by Arizona. Like, are we going to sit here and like all of a sudden, Kyler Murray didn't even throw a touchdown pass. They let a bunch of backup running backs run all over them. Like not even James Conner did this. Like. So and the Patriots are good with the running back situation. Yeah, Gibson's been fumbling. He hasn't looked like him like what he was in Washington, but Ramondre, he's still pretty solid. So yeah, I'm feeling the Patriots too, John. I think the Patriots get the I guess it's considered an upset here. I think they're going to get an upset because really, to be honest, the Bears haven't shown me really anything after that. Like after that Jacksonville game, that should have been a confidence booster. Like this is our fucking offense. Our offense is awesome. Our offense, and then they went
to the bye week too.
Yeah, and then they had that game with the Washington Commanders, and you were thinking, oh yeah, Commanders, they've been a fun story. Jaden Daniels, oh what a great year. But let's just be real, that Washington defense still stinks. The Bears just came off this shellacking over the Jaguars, and it's like, hey, maybe this offense is finally here, and that offense did nothing. And then it was the same thing against the Cardinals, like. Yes, the Cardinals are a tricky defense. Like statistically, the Cardinals aren't like this outstanding defense, but they are a tricky defense for a lot of teams. They tricked a lot of teams, and they got a lot of big wins, the Cardinals this year. But still, it's like one of those things where I don't know how you did not move the football well against the Cardinals. Like where was the disconnect? And like you said, Cole Kmet, 0 targets.
The other thing to think about that is, however good or bad we want to consider the Cardinals defense, 9 points is the lowest points that the Bears have scored this season. And they've played the Titans, good defense, the Texans, good defense, the Colts, all right defense, Rams, decent defense.
Yeah.
But that was Rams without Kupp and Puka still. The Panthers, terrible defense. The Jaguars, terrible defense. The Commanders, not good defense.
Yeah.
How is it that the Cardinals were the one that gave you the most trouble?
Yeah. I just don't get it with the players that they have. And I can see the same thing with the Patriots. And the only thing that like the Bears that I feel like they would have an advantage of over the Patriots is like, even though Eberflus stinks, he's no Gerard Mayo. Gerard Mayo is just a Jeff Saturday. Like this is like Jeff Saturday with the Colts all over again. Like Gerard Mayo, I don't even know if he thinks he's coaching. Like he's just sitting there half the time. He's just kind of chilling. It's just like I don't.
Drake May's running for his life.
Yeah, I just think honestly, Gerard Mayo, it's like one of those where it's like maybe he's just not built to be a head coach. Like maybe a positions coach where he can fuck around with the linebackers and talk shit, but him as a head coach, I don't know. It just seems very, I don't know, jarring. It's not the best look. So, but yeah, I'm with you. I think the Patriots could upset.
And moving from there, we go to the Bills coming to Indianapolis to take on the Indianapolis Colts. This one, I mean, let's talk about the away team because right now they have Keon Coleman out. Questionable Amari Cooper, but it looks like he will play. So there are some pieces that are going to be missing from the Bills offense. And it's crazy to think that Amari Cooper is now a piece, considering he's only been on the team for 2 weeks. But the Bills have been an interesting team because you could argue that they are kind of the definition of playing to their opponent's level this year, with the exception of that Texans game in which they
Yeah.
they were just terrible. But generally speaking, they have risen to the occasion and risen to the level of their opponents that they've played. And here we have a Colts team that didn't play well. There's no way around it. They benched Anthony Richardson to put Joe Flacco in and say, all right, we gotta figure things out with Anthony, figure out like what's going on with this kid, like what's this whole tired thing, pulling yourself out of the game. Like, you're the quarterback. You are the most important player on the team. There's only 32 of you that start every week. Like, you got to do this. And that guy was like, I was tired. All right, let go. All right, we're going to bench you. Flacco's in. Anthony, we're going to figure this out with you. Maybe you just got to learn, et cetera, et cetera. Flacco comes in and really did not look good. And now, granted, Brian Flores defense, Vikings defense, one of the high-powered teams in the NFL. So I can give a little bit of, understanding to that. But here come the Buffalo Bills. And Bills don't really have that many question marks injury-wise on defense. It's not that great of a defense. It's far less than what we thought it would be. Let's put it that way. But it's still a good defense. And Sean McDermott, good coach for the defense. So how realistic is it here that the Colts have a fighting chance against the Bills? Well, you could argue, okay, well, the Colts have a lot of things going for them, right? They've got Michael Pitt. Oh, wait, no, they don't have Michael Pittman because Michael Pittman has been ruled out. So they're going to have Alec Pierce, Josh Downs, but they will have Jonathan Taylor. And I think if you can run on the Bills, that is the key to beating the Bills.
Yeah.
Because if you can control the clock and force Josh Allen to have to throw the ball a lot, like make him feel as though he has to throw the ball, even if it's a regular number of passing attempts for a quarterback, nothing too insane. Like, I think it was yesterday, Burrow had like 56 pass attempts. But if you have like a regular stat line for a quarterback, somewhere in that 30s range, but if you can make him feel as though he's got to make these throws, that's where you can get Josh Allen to make mistakes. And he went from not throwing interceptions, and that was the whole thing, right? Josh Allen, ball security. He went from not throwing interceptions through, I think, 7, maybe 8 weeks of the season. He's had 2 back-to-back interceptions now in games. So maybe he's starting to feel it. And Keon Coleman, rookie, it's not as though this guy was doing a hell of a lot, but there was something that he provided when it came to down the field stuff, allowing Khalil Shakir to be more of the slot receiver, allowing Kincaid to do what he does. It's an interesting situation. I can understand this line makes way more sense than Bears-Patriots being what it is. But I'm going to take the Bills here. I think they come to Indianapolis, handle business, and move on, because if I remember right, the Buffalo Bills next week after this have a date with destiny. They're going to be hosting a certain team from the Missouri area.
Oh man, how did we not get this on Sunday night, Mike? We got to talk about Chargers Bengals next week. I mean, I love Herbert. I love Burrow, but CBS. Tony Romo, you cock blocked us, man.
How is that an afternoon game? That's a 4:25 game.
Yeah, well, because CBS and Fox can protect one game.
There it is.
Yeah, so like, and obviously Nance and Romo are going to be calling Bills and Chiefs. Like, if you hate Tony Romo, mute that game, because Romo loves both those guys. Like. Jaden Daniels made a 6th throw, and he goes, "Ooh, Jim, that was very like Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen." I was like, "Bro, can you just give Jaden Daniels his props? Like, you're just like comparing him to like 2 of the top quarterbacks in NFL. Like, what are we doing here?" Yeah, I'm with you on the Bills. Like, I thought it was so funny watching the Sunday night game where they were trying to hype up the Colts like triangle that they had at defense, the linebacker, the other defensive tackle, and Buckner, who's been a beast for like, probably one of the most. DeForest Buckner is the new Calais Campbell. It's just going to be, he's like one of those great defensive tackles. No one knows what he does. No one cares what he does, but he just kicks ass. He's just awesome. But we don't care because he doesn't play for any big team. He was on the Niners at one point, but the Niners, replaced him with other defensive tackles. He was getting too expensive. The Niners know what they're doing. They know how to rush construct better than most teams in the NFL. They did the same thing with Eric Armstead, let him go after so many great years with them too. But yeah, Buckner's a beast. But the other two players, yeah, they're good, but Collinsworth was like jizzing himself talking about it. Like, they're like a triangle, Mike. I mean, they just go in there and then it's like, okay. Like the Bills, yeah, as long as they don't, as long as they can just like not get in their own way and like, like lose this game, they should win. But the problem is like if the Colts do, decide to use their all-pro running back and former MVP candidate Jonathan Taylor like he should be doing, they have a better chance because that game against the Vikings was so weird. Like, I know Taylor fumbled, but it was like, come on. Well, it wasn't even his fault. It was a weird handoff that caused that fumble. They just credit him to fumble. But it's one of those things where it's like, you got to trust him. And then that fourth down play, it was so bizarre. Like, Taylor wasn't even in the game. It was like Sermon was in the game. And then the special teams wide receiver was the main target. It's like,
yeah, it didn't make any sense.
What kind of like? Come on, man! Like Steichen or whatever your name is, Colts head coach. I was giving you praise like a few weeks ago. Now I want to take that back. Now I don't even want to call you a good coach. Like that's malpractice right there. That's you have to have Jonathan Taylor in the
game. They try to get too cute. They go, all right. Well, if we have Jonathan Taylor in, they might think it's a run play. But if we have Trey Sermon in, it could be a run or a pass. It's things like that when it's like you get like it. If nobody has learned from Pete Carroll trying to throw the ball on the goal line, the Super Bowl, nobody has learned the lesson of that. Where it's just like if you got Marshawn Lynch, you hand him the ball and he will get it there. Like maybe he won't, maybe he will, but he's the best opportunity that you have to get the 3 or 4, whatever the yardage is, to get the ball where it needs to go. Jonathan Taylor is by far the best option on that team to get the ball where it needs to go to convert this fourth down. Why we're not going to go with that, I don't know. And the better thing is, if they think it's a run, that allows you to do a pass. If you think a pass is going to be better. So that was definitely a weird situation against the Vikings. But speaking of the Vikings, let's turn to this Vikings-Jaguars game. This one is the line makes sense here because of 1, how good the Vikings are, 2, how terrible the Jaguars have been, and 3, because of the Jaguars' injuries. The Jaguars are potentially coming into this game without Brian Thomas Jr., the wide receiver that has really, really gangbusters come out of the gate, to the surprise of some people, maybe not those who watched him in LSU, but to the surprise of some people who were thinking of the Marvin Harrisons Juniors, the Malik Neighbors, the Rome Odunzes. They weren't really thinking about the Brian Thomas Juniors as being a rookie wide receiver that was really going to set himself apart, and BTJ has done just that. The Jaguars also questionable is Gabe Davis, who hasn't been doing a lot, mainly because Brian Thomas Jr. has, but I mean, with Christian Kirk on injured reserve, needed to be there to be another pass catcher. But in order to be a pass catcher, you have to have somebody throwing you the ball. And the issue there is that questionable for the game is none other than superstar, allegedly, quarterback, $50 million a year man, Trevor Lawrence. This one is really not good for the Jags if Trevor Lawrence can't play. Because on the flip side, for the Vikings, the people who are questionable or considered questionable Blake Cashman, linebacker, Gabriel Murphy, linebacker, Ivan Pace, linebacker. They were trending in the right direction. Cashman had a limited practice, and a full practice. Ivan Pace did not practice on Wednesday, but Thursday and today practices. So they're trending towards the right direction. Harrison Smith and Stephon Gilmore, they didn't practice, but it was rest days. It was veteran rest days.
They're old.
So I'm not concerned there. But this is a situation where I woke up, I think it was Thursday, and I saw people adding Mac Jones in fantasy. I was like, hey, why? What's going on? And then I'm thumbing over. I'm like on my phone. I'm like, wait a minute, what's going on? And I'm seeing Trevor Lawrence may not be playing. If Trevor Lawrence doesn't play in this game and Mac Jones has to go up against this Brian Flores defense, this could get ugly.
Yeah.
And because the thing is, it's not just this Brian Flores defense that you got to go against. Part of the reason of why this defense has been so good is because on the offense, they are able to move the ball very well. Sam Darnold has started to regress, has started to come back to earth, but he still has Jordan Addison on this team. He still has Aaron Jones on his team. He still has the best wide receiver in the entire league in Justin Jefferson. Oh, and he also has TJ Hawkinson, who returned last week against the Colts. And while he didn't do a lot, he did enough to show that he is back from that ACL injury and he is ready to go. And of course, they're going to work him in slowly. And what a game you want to talk about working people back into the lineup. What a game to have the Jaguars defense, which has not been good. And now you can get him that confidence. You can get him the reps, get him where he needs to be for the rest of the season when you really are going to need him. It's a situation where Johnny Munt and Josh Oliver did an adequate job kind of filling in for TJ Hawkinson. It's not TJ Hawkinson. You had Jalen Naylor having to step in for Jordan Addison when he missed time. But Darnold was able to move the ball. Now it's a full-strength Vikings offense. Granted, no J.J. McCarthy, so it's not full strength, but it's as full strength as you're going to get in 2024. This could be a really ugly game for the Jaguars. I'm sure that Jaguars fans kind of hope it is because they probably really want Doug Peterson gone. But I'm taking the Vikings with this one comfortably. How about you?
Let me check the weather in Jacksonville. If it's too hot, maybe I can be swayed that the Jaguars will win. Let's see. It's going to be, it's going to be a nice 70 degrees in Jacksonville on that Sunday. So, I still got the Vikings winning. I mean, the Jaguars, I have nothing for them. They just stink. Like, I can't even talk about them. Like, I just knew Trevor Lawrence was going to choke that game against the Eagles. I was like, how is Lawrence going to choke this game? And, of course, threw an interception right. Oh, God, I can't wait till we talk about the Eagles. These guys are such frauds, too. I think I don't know how you allow the Jaguars to come back. I mean, the Jaguars did come back on the Chargers at one point, but I still don't understand, like, how that was happening at the time. But, the Jaguars, it's just, I don't know. I feel bad if you're a fan of them right now. I just don't see any light at the end of the tunnel. You gave too much money to a bunch of players who are not performing that well. It's like the same formula with them. Every year this happens. They have one good year. We hype them up. We say, oh, Jacksonville, they're going to be a fun team. They're going to be great. They have young running back. They have this. They have that. And then they start paying people. They start going on free agency, signing all these players, and they think, oh, this will solve the issue, and it doesn't solve anything. It just makes it worse. Then those players regress. They're happy that they're in Florida, no state tax. I don't know. Something happens, man. There's teams when I see that a player signs to them, I'm like, yeah, they're done. The Chargers used to be that team. Whenever I saw like a veteran signed to our team that was really good at one point, I'm like, no, they're just here because they have a house in Cali and they just want to play in California. That's it. And that happens all the time with us. That happened all the time with us. Like, we wouldn't get the same player that was like really, really good. But the Vikings are good football team. Kevin O'Connor still coach of the year. Doesn't matter. He is. Freaking with Sam Darnold.
I can't really think of any other coach that really would.
Yeah,
Be,
Dan Campbell's the only one that can compete with him. That's
yeah,
it.
but I mean,
Because Andy Reid, they're not going to vote for it. They're going to be like, hey, well, you're Andy Reid.
yeah,
You're one of the goats. Like Shanahan's the only one that can probably steal it from them if he
that depends on how the rest of the season goes.
yeah, how the rest of the season goes. Gannon could also be a good contender with the Cardinals. Like, like he's done a good job with them. So
I mean,
if
yeah,
they were the division, it could be.
but at the same time, the Vikings, when you have such a big QB change coming into the season, like basically a week before the season starts, and you come out looking like this and going the way that you're going, I mean, I would still give KOC the nod. But let's
Jim
move.
Harbaugh. Actually, let's just give it to Jim Harbaugh. He's done.
All right. Enough.
He's done enough.
Enough. We'll get
He's
to
not better than us.
We'll get to the Chargers.
Oh.
We'll get to the Chargers. But we are going to go to the AFC West because we have a divisional round matchup between the Kansas City Chiefs, fucking assholes, and the Denver Broncos.
Yeah, have fun watching that one, John. I'm
what?
Glad I don't have to. I said have fun watching that one. I'm glad I don't have to watch Mahomes this week.
Because, the Broncos were doing really well there for a bit, but they were beating up on dog shit teams. They were getting wins against the New Orleans Saints of the world and the Carolina Panthers of the world. Yeah. And a lot of Broncos people were really, really happy. And then they ran into a good team.
Yeah.
Not just a good team, a great team in the Baltimore Ravens. And look, if you put Bo Nix anytime touchdown and you were expecting him to run it in, I mean, he got the anytime touchdown.
Yeah.
He didn't run it in. He caught it on a trick play, which was the only passing touchdown that Denver had against the Ravens. Yeah. And it's an offense that you can throw on. Now, granted, the Broncos had, I think it was 3 drives where they had turnover on downs. And that's why the score ended up being as lopsided as it was. They had multiple opportunities to kick field goals in those situations because they were close. So I understand why the score looked the way it looked. However, I can at least appreciate the fact that Sean Payton was like, we are going to be aggressive and we are going to try to get this 4th down so that we can score some points. And by the time the 3rd one happened, at that point, he was like, well, it's basically just practice. So we're going to go out there. Like, we're not winning this game at this point. It's practice for you guys to be able to figure out what you need to do on 4th down. I get game footage. I get game film that I can show you and be like, this is what we need to do differently. It's tough to coach that in the moment. Sure, I'm cool with it. I'm not mad at them losing against the Ravens. I figured that they were going to lose that game and this game. All I want to see is progression. However, that being said, infamously, the Ring of Horsepower weekend or the Ring of Horsepower run started last year on my wedding anniversary, or what would become my wedding anniversary. October 28th, I got married. October 29th, I flew to New York, and as we were landing or as we were getting to the hotel, the Denver Broncos beat the Kansas City Chiefs for the first time in Patrick Mahomes' career. It's the first time he ever lost to Denver. So technically, Sean Payton he's 1-1, but he's got the last laugh right now. That's going to change. Broncos are losing this game. However, we'll see if there's any Ring of Horsepower magic. That being said, I'm comfortably taking the Chiefs in this one because I don't know what it is. You notice this entire time I didn't bother talking about the Chiefs because I don't know what it is. I don't know what dark satanic pact ritual, what. It doesn't matter who is out. It doesn't matter who is injured. It doesn't matter if Patrick Mahomes looks like he gets injured in the game. Somehow, some way, some bullshit's going to happen and they're going to win. There were 2 calls that were missed on that final drive in the 4th quarter that helped the Chiefs get the go-ahead score. Absolutely ridiculous. I don't know what it is. I don't know who they paid off, who they sacrificed, like how much blood had to be poured into a bowl in some dark dungeon somewhere in Kansas City. but they did what they needed to do, and the Chiefs are basically on cruise control. And Isaiah Pacheco is going to be coming back soon, and they're going to be just fine. So we'll see what happens. Who are you picking in this one?
I'm picking the Chiefs. Like I hate saying. I can't believe, John. Why is it our division that we?
Why is it our?
No, why is it that we have to deal
we're the Jets, Dolphins, and Bills of the past.
Yeah. Now I know why they hated Brady. Like I hated Brady too because he kicked the Chargers' ass. But now I get it. Now
I hated Brady because of Peyton, but it's different. I get it.
Yeah, but now I get it. It's just like Jesus Christ, dude. It's like you can't stop this guy, and he looks like any other quarterback that would have been a torn Achilles or something like that. No, he's fine. He went to the Blue Medical tent. He's good. It's like, there's no stopping this evil empire of the Chiefs. Like you're hoping that the defense, because they're so young, they would suck. No, they're great. They're a great defense. They
got Chris Jones and Karlaftis there. Just
Trent McDuffie. He's just putting up a great season.
People are like, oh, they lost the Darius Sneed. Step back. Trent McDuffie was like, don't worry, guys.
Yeah, I'm so fucking good. I'm one of the best corners in the NFL. It's like, so sick of it. I'm just so sick of saying their name. I want the downfall to happen soon. Like it's just so frustrating with these guys. I mean, fuck it. We just got to deal with Mahomes. They're gonna win the 3-peat. Like there has to be like. Who's the hope in beating the Chiefs, John, in the playoffs? Who's the team that you have the most?
Well, from the AFC side, I would say the Ravens.
Lamar turns into a middle schooler when he plays the Chiefs. He becomes so horrible.
Okay, hold on. In his defense, if Isaiah Likely's mother, when she gave birth to him, had somehow made his foot slightly shorter, they win that game.
I guess. He still was playing bad in the first. It doesn't change that he was playing bad in the first half.
If rookie Zay Flowers doesn't fumble the ball last year in that AFC title game, they win the game. And the thing is, credit where credit is due. We're talking shit about the Chiefs, but credit where credit is due. When those opportunities happen, things like Zay Flowers fumbling the ball, Chiefs make the most of them. And I'll always give credit where credit is due, even if I really hate these guys.
Oh no, they know how to win.
They know how to win. They know how to win.
It's just so frustrating seeing it every single week, and it's just like it's just like, damn, dude, how do they keep doing this? Like it's just this because this offense does not look appealing, and then Hopkins looked like washed on the Titans, and now he looked great. And it's
what is this bullshit?
Yeah, it's like what's in the water over there? But yeah, no, Chiefs are winning. Like. I don't know if they'll go undefeated. There's going to be like one stupid loss that they will have.
Yeah.
But
it could be this week. It could be this week. Who knows?
Yeah, it could be. It definitely could. I mean, Broncos defense is still good. Bo Nix, he can get a little Mahomey. Bo Nix has those. Bo Nix is not bad. Like he's shown a lot. Like I just think it's because like he's on the Broncos and the Broncos aren't on TV that much. That like he's not getting any like props or anything like that. Like. If Broncos were shown more nationally, I think Bo Nix would be a lot more loved and stuff. Like, when Bo Nix does play on national TV, it's like the worst game of him. Like, it's just like the Saints game where it's like, oh yeah, that's what Bo. But Bo was fine in the Ravens game. It was just, the Ravens are the Ravens. Like, what do you expect? Like, you're not gonna like. I laughed at that Thursday night graphic. They were like Ravens scoring throughout the season 48, first half 7. So we're going to compare their whole season scoring compared to one half of football. Like, what are we doing? Like, there's 4 quarters. Like, I understand this is like entering in the 4th quarter and they only had 7 points. Yeah, that's jarring. But this was the start of the 3rd quarter, and they were showing it like it was like some crazy number. It's like, man, the Ravens, they're one of those teams. They can turn it on like that. Like, it's crazy how good that team is. But yeah.
Well,
my only hope is the Lions right now, John.
Well, okay, yeah. So from the NFC side, I would say the Lions have a really good shot. One of the teams we're going to be talking about very soon, I think, has a shot.
What, actually,
the Falcons? The Falcons and the Commanders. If the Commanders got to the playoffs, would be if they managed to somehow go, like we're just saying, if they're in the Super Bowl in a one-on-one in a one-game situation, I could see the Commanders pulling some bullshit out of nowhere and upsetting the Chiefs. If it was just like any given Sunday situation. That's something I could see happening. The
mean,
Falcons also
Wink.
looked really good against the Chiefs until the very end. Fuckery happened. Remember, Kyle Pitts getting interference on that 2-point conversion.
Yeah, really bad.
So like they were in it. They were in the thick of it with the Chiefs. So like there are teams on the NFC side that could realistically stop them.
Kingsbury knows Mahomes really well. Coached
Yep.
him. So
but-
that'd be fun. Super Bowl. Commanders,
Yeah.
Chiefs. Be the most racist Super Bowl of all time, but it'd be fun.
Wait, what's racist about? Oh, because of the. I was like, where are you going with this?
No, yeah, it'd be the most racist of all time, but sure, yeah, we good.
But while we're here, while we're talking about this, let's take a look at this current what's it called, the Tankathon, and see kind of what these teams are being projected to have right now in if the season ended today.
Yeah.
So we talked about a bunch of these teams already because they were in the top of the draft order, but the Vikings right now projected to be number 28. They're supposed to be taking a defensive lineman, Walter Nolan, out of Ole Miss. And we've got the Colts. We've got the Colts taking Benjamin Morrison, cornerback, Notre Dame.
Sure. I mean, he's fine. Like, first round, I guess out of desperation.
We've got at number 30, Emory Jones, offensive tackle, LSU for the Bills.
He's really good. Look, I'll say this offensive line class, it's so deep. Like it's a really strong, deep class. So a lot of the players, you could say them and I'll be good. But yeah, Emory Jones, like you said the Chiefs, right?
No, to the Bills.
Oh, Bills, yeah. He would be such a good Bill. Like it's like just a mauler. This guy mauls people. Pass rush, not pass pro, hit or miss, but when it comes to mauling, he will maul you to death. Like you run on his side every time. Emory Jones is a stud. I like him. He could be a top 10 guy if grades well in the combine. I think he's like just shorter, like 6'4" or something like that.
No, he's 6'6".
6'6". So LSU, he's actually 6'5". they always rate. Alabama does the same shit. They'll be like, oh, this guy's 6'8". Then they're pro day. Yeah, he's 6'6". Like what? That was 6'8".
They've got at 32 because they're projecting the Chiefs winning it all because they're the undefeated team. Denzel Burke, cornerback, Ohio State, and if they did pick him, he would be going up against Mika Ibuka, wide receiver, Ohio State, because that's who they have Denver picking at number 19. And I would love for any pass catcher to join the Denver Broncos because that's what Bo Nix absolutely.
Mika has really risen that high, huh?
Yeah.
Wow.
You got him. Well, I mean, it could also be need because by the time Denver's picking at 19, they're anticipating that Luther Burden's gone. Oh, yeah. Travis Hunter's gone. So, next best wide receiver, they've got Igbukah listed. But let's turn.
I want to say one thing because we didn't talk about the Vikings game. I love that they traded for the Jaguars left tackle. And then they were like, we lost our left tackle. Hey, let's just get the Jaguars left tackle. And I love that. I'm like, bro, like they want to win. Like it's like what winning attitude? Just take and now you have two really good tackles when your guy comes back, or what's his name? How come I'm forgetting his name? He's one of the best tackles in the NFL too. I shouldn't forget his name, but
when my guy comes back?
No, when the Vikings guy comes back, the tackle that got hurt in the Rams game, sadly.
Oh, hold on.
Why am I forgetting his name? He's really good. I like him a lot. I think he's one of the best tackles in the NFL. But I like the Cam Robinson addition. It was like, okay, he's a solid tackle. He's not the greatest, but he knows how to play left tackle well. He's serviceable. Yeah, Christian Darrisaw. He's a beast. And now you have two really good tackles because I think isn't that Cam Robinson, or is it Cam Robinson or Cam Thomas, whatever tackle they grabbed from Jacksonville?
Yeah, Cam Robinson.
Yeah, that guy. Did he just sign a contract with Didn't Jacksonville just pay this guy? Like they were like, oh yeah, you're serviceable enough. They just paid him, right? He should still have some years left. Like, it's a good pickup.
Let me see. So they placed the franchise tag a second time on him in 2022 before eventually agreeing to a 3-year contract extension for
Yeah.
$54 million. But that was 2022. So there could be 1 year left. Yeah.
Yeah, they will have him for one more year. So you have two good tackles the next year when JJ comes back.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
the Vikings just paid Darisaw, and then later on Cameron Robinson on the if you want, because we all know there's a Staley and Orlando Brown Jr. issue where Orlando Brown was convinced he was a left tackle in the NFL and didn't want to play right anymore. So then he went to the Chiefs, and then or no, he went somewhere else. Was it the Cowboys for a bit? And then afterwards he went to the Chiefs, and then afterwards he went somewhere. Like, and I think he's now on the Bengals, and he hasn't had a good season, but.
But let's turn to another divisional matchup when the
Fuck the
Falcons
Jaguars.
go to take on the Saints. And we've got a bunch of people who are full participation
No.
for the Falcons. Kyle Pitts, Judon, didn't really do much.
But how's Kyle Pitts hurt? What did he do last week?
Hamstring. Yeah, what did he do last week?
Yeah, the fuck is how you get hurt running?
Yeah, we got Grady Jarrett, who was a full participant,
Oh,
but
that's good.
limited participants still with a hip pointer. Drake London. That is going to be. I don't want to say. See, the thing is, it's interesting because like you don't in a game like this when the Saints are just this terrible, coming off fired the head coach. Maybe they get the interim head coach bounce with Darren Rizzi, who is elevated to being the interim head coach. He was the special team. He was assistant head coach / special teams coordinator from 2019 to 2024, and now he is interim head coach and special teams coordinator. But maybe they get that bounce. It is a divisional game. It could be tight. I'm not here saying like the Falcons absolutely need Drake London, but it's nicer to have Drake London when you're going up against a divisional game with the interim head coach bounce, all that kind of stuff. Like it's better to have Drake London than it is to not. So will he be playing? Because maybe there's that extra day of Saturday. He was a limited participant in practice. We don't know. But the Falcons have generally been looking really, really good this past season. And Kirk Cousins, kind of getting back into those Kirk Cousins ways. He's still throwing picks like nobody's business from time to time. But he has, they win against the Cowboys. They win against the Bucks in a really great game, that Bucks game. They lost that game to Seattle, but, Kirk doesn't make some of those Kirk throws, and that's a game where they win. But the Falcons have been kind of putting it together. Meanwhile, the Saints, they don't know whether Olave's playing. They've got a new head coach.
He's not going to play.
Derek Carr is just absolute dog shit, as I've been saying for years and years and years.
Must have been upset that Trump won the election. He couldn't handle it.
So here, like, look at this line. Like Saints plus 168, Falcons negative 200. How was the Patriots plus 225 and the Bears are minus 275?
It makes no sense. This line is so weird. Like, honestly, it's just like the Falcons are winning this game. The Saints just traded their best corner away, and now it's like a bunch of young guys. Paulson Debo's injured, so no Paulson Debo either. So it's not like Kool-Aid has played well for them from the snaps that I've seen, but not enough for me to say, oh yeah, he can handle. But yeah, no, the Falcons, their offense is just—it's a fun offense. I like watching their offense. When I go back, I get excited. Defensively, I think the thing is they're just like looking at maybe like past history of Carr versus the Falcons.
Maybe.
And it's just one of those things where it's like maybe Carr does well against the Falcons defense, but yeah, like the defensively it's hit or miss with the Falcons. Still can't develop a pass rush to save their life. But other than that, man, it's a fun offense. Like you get those Bijan Robinson, he'll carry the load. Algiers a fun power back. And then later on, like Darnell Mooney, like he looks good. Like he looks really good right now, Mooney. Like this is what they wanted for like the Bears fans have wanted for years from Darnell Mooney, and now he's playing to his potential. And it's like It's crazy, John. They're doing this team. They're getting Darnell Mooney in space. They're letting Darnell Mooney
It's a novel concept. It's a
instead of
novel
just
concept.
running a 9 route and saying get separation from the corner. He's running routes where there's little picks and rubs, and he's able to run away from the defenders. Use that speed to his advantage to run away from defenders with the football in his hands, not him running away trying to catch the football. The football is already in his hands. Like it's crazy. But yeah, no, I liked watching the Falcons offense. If they just use Kyle Pitts more. But yeah, I do like this team. I like the Falcons a lot, actually. I think they're like the one team that, like, if you're Detroit, you're just like, yeah, I don't want to face these guys.
Right.
Like, even though Detroit's used to Kirk Cousins and stuff,
Yeah.
I think it's like they're the one team where it's like, if you can out Detroit, I think the Falcons can out Detroit them with the running game that they have. Because there's game, man, Bijan will just, oh my God, like 9 yards a clip, 6 yards, 7, 9, 6, and you're just like, geez, who's stopping this guy? And once again, a lot of people aren't watching because it is Falcons are barely on national TV, even though they had a Monday night, a Sunday night, and a Thursday night game. So I don't know how you haven't seen them by now. But yeah, it's just one of those things. They like, as long as Cousins protect the ball, the Falcons are good. Like if Cousins keeps having these really good 250 plus, 2+ touchdown games, they're winning a lot of football games, and they're going to be. I'm going to say it. I think they're going to be the 2 seed in the NFC. I think they're going to lock that 2 seed up. Like I can't see any other team going to be 2 seed. They're going to win their division, and they're going to be 2 seed.
Well, from here we go to what would have been, or what should have been, a very interesting game at the start of the season. Niners versus Buccaneers. But before we do that, speaking of terrible defense, the Tankathon currently has the Falcons at pick 22, taking Jalen Walker, linebacker / edge out of Georgia.
I like Jalen Walker, but I don't know if he solves the pat. He's good, but he's not an instant sack getter type of guy. Like you need someone that their main goal is I'm going to kill the quarterback. You need like what Jared Verse was from Florida State. I was like, his main goal is he wants to kill the quarterback every play and stuff. So they need like a Harold Perkins. That's like a guy they need from LSU. That's the dude they want. Like it's like your main goal is to go after the quarterback. Like honestly, the Falcons, like, is there any interesting edge rushers on free agency this year?
You know what? Let me see.
I know Mack is going to become a free agent most likely too. He's a potential, but do the Falcons really want to sign like Khalil Mack?
Let me see. So let's go with edge. Khalil Mack. Technically Hassan Reddick, but there's going to be a new contract there. Judon, DeMarcus Lawrence. That would be interesting.
Yeah, that's a good sack getter.
Josh Sweat, Chase Young, Omenahue, currently on Kansas City, Jerome Baker on the Titans, Marcus Davenport, Fatukasi on Houston, Anthony Nelson with Tampa Bay, Kazir White on the Cardinals, Jaron Reed on
Kaiser. Do they have Kaiser White as an edge rusher?
They have him listed as an edge. Well, it's saying outside linebacker / edge rusher.
Oh, okay. No, Kaiser White's a pass coverage.
Yeah.
Oh, what are the Cardinals putting him as?
They've got Clelin Ferrell from Washington.
That would be a good one. Yeah,
that would be interesting.
Quarterback.
There are some people available if you want to spend some money. There, you can get them, and it probably wouldn't be that expensive depending on what kind of contract you got to give them. But let's talk about these Niners Buccaneers game. We'll get to the Niners, but let's talk about the Bucs, because the Bucs had a heartbreaking overtime loss against the Chiefs where Baker Mayfield didn't even touch the ball. Gets to overtime. Chiefs
his reaction when they did win a coin toss.
Chiefs just do dumb shit, bullshit, and like I said, there were 2 missed calls on that final drive. Juwan. I keep trying to say Juwan Jennings, but it's Juwan Taylor. False start, as usual, doesn't get called.
Never.
And ridiculousness. But it is what it is.
Did you hear Belichick on the Manning cast just talk shit about the Chiefs the whole time?
No, but I need to.
Oh,
that is a reason to go back and watch that.
so they did the RPO, and then Belichick immediately goes, "Of course, an illegal man downfield, but you're not going to get that call in Kansas City." I was like, "Oh my god!" And then he's like, and then like whenever Taylor Foster, he's like, "Taylor just false started." He was like pointing that out every time. Like I was like, Belichick, like. I know, like it's like Brady. I know Brady watches the Chiefs. Like he does not want Mahomes to be known better than him right now.
No, he doesn't.
And I hate to break it to like Brady, but Mahomes is on like this ungodly track record. Like even like I'll say this, even if Mahomes ends up with like just 4 or 5 Super Bowls, I think he can get over Tom Brady. I know Brady has 7, but
he'll definitely. I think he'll be able to pass him stats wise.
Yeah, no, stats wise, Mahomes will get it. But I think the 5 Super Bowl. If he has 5 Super Bowls, the only thing that will hurt Mahomes over Brady is just that MVPs. Like like he's not like because Mahomes only has 2, right? He only has 2 MVPs, or does he just have that one? Like it's like so hard to remember how many MVPs he has.
Let me see. I think you're right. I think he only has 2.
Yeah, because he only has 2 MVPs.
Yeah, two league MVPs. Yeah.
Yeah, like which is shocking. You would think that this guy, but no, he only has 2. And then the 1 year where he threw the 50+ touchdowns his first year as a full-time starter, and then I think he broke the curse, and then he broke the curse of MVPs not winning the Super Bowl or something like that. Yeah. But yeah, it's such a bizarre thing. Such a bizarre thing with the.
But the Buccaneers losing that game. There's a reason why there's no Mike Evans. There's
no Chris Godwin. No.
Those 2 guys are in that, and that you end up losing by a touchdown in overtime. It would have been a lot different. But
yeah, Baker looked good that game. He looked good.
Yeah, you play the schedule that you play, and here you got to take on a Niners team coming off of a bye, and maybe
I already put money on it. He's getting it. He's back. My man is back.
McCaffrey for the first time.
I wore the red
2024, and for the first time in 2024, will be taking meaningful snaps in a football game. He will be playing this weekend against the Buccaneers. Welcome back. If you're willing to believe this week, welcome back. Anytime touchdown, Christian McCaffrey.
No.
But
you were miracles. I love
the Niners.
I love him.
The Niners will probably also be getting back Juwan Jennings. And man, the Niners really need this win. Yeah. It is crazy to think that the San Francisco 49ers are currently at 500 and we are in week 10.
Yeah.
They didn't play a game because they're coming off of their bye week. It is absolutely crazy to think that they are a 500 team. That will probably start changing. But they are also coming into, if you think about the playoff teams getting easier schedules to begin with to stack wins, and then you test them later in the season, they're going to be running into some really tough teams to beat. I mean, they handled the Seahawks before. They're going to get the Seahawks week 11. Then they're going to be at Packers, at Bills, Chicago Bears. Maybe the Bears defense is, the offense is figured out. The defense is still there. Then they got to face the Rams. Then they got the Dolphins and Tua's back. Then they're going to have to face the Lions, and they close out the season with the Cardinals. Like it's not a murderer's row, but it's a little bit of a tough schedule. But what you got to do is you got to come into that schedule 5-4. You can't come into it 4-6 if you're going to have any shot of potentially being a wild card team. And the NFC is pretty open. Like we know that there's going to be Detroit pretty much at the top. There's going to be probably the Vikings taking one of those wild card spots. Packers could be the other wild card spot. The idea of the Bears,
it's over. Let's get up on that.
There's that last wild card spot that is open because Lord knows these teams in the NFC are trying to find ways to lose. We'll get to the Eagles, but you gotta win this game. And this is, Christian McCaffrey's coming back. I feel comfortable taking the Niners, even with that 500 record. How about you?
Yeah, the Niners are the cream are like yes, they don't have the record like Detroit, but they're one of the cream of the crop teams in the NFC. I think the Buccaneers are a good team, but still missing Evans. That's gonna hurt you in this game.
Yeah.
Like the Buccaneers have found something. They're a good team. It's just injuries have kind of hurt them at the worst time, at the worst part of their schedule, where it's like, all right, you got to face Atlanta, and then after Atlanta, you got to go face the Chiefs, and then now you got to face the Niners. It's like,
There's only so many
ah,
sweeps you can do with Sterling Shepard.
yeah,
It is
exactly.
what
Like
it is.
Sterling Shepard, like this is like where the Buccaneers like, fuck, can we face the Panthers this week or something? Like a bad team. Like the Niners are a good football team. It's just the Niners ran into like the worst injury luck of all time. Like let's look at this right here. Like Debo Samuel's battling with unknown diseases this season.
Right.
Ayuk misses training camp and now he's out for the season. George Kittle has been banged up this season. Juwan Jennings, he looked good, then he got hurt. Now he's fine. Christian McCaffrey, we were thinking it's like we don't even know what his injury was. And now it turns out he's fine and everything. Jordan Mason, he was great for them for a little bit, but then
Detroit.
he started getting banged up because of the offense, and then their rookie that they drafted got
I was
shot.
about to
Like,
say, you're forgetting the guy that got
yeah,
shot.
it's like one of those things where it's like, bro, like Purdy can only do so much without like all these guys. Like when they get there, and to Purdy's credit, he's played great. Like Purdy's played. Both these quarterbacks have played great with the situations that they're put in front of them. It's just that the difference is that the Niners, like, they're still have every other piece that will help them win football games, while the Buccaneers are missing pieces that will win them football games. Like the Niners still have Fred Warner on defense. They still have Nick Bosa on defense. They still have those guys that make impacts on that play. And for the Buccaneers, yeah, Levante David has been one of the best linebackers in the last 10 years, and he's played a lot of snaps. He's getting older. He's not making the same
Yeah.
plays that he used to do. Antoine Winfield is a great young safety, top 5 safety in the league. There was 2 plays in that Chiefs game. He should have had a pick 6, but back to back. He could have had 2 pick 6s back to back if he just caught the balls. And so, those guys aren't going to make the winning plays that you need at this time. I think the Buccaneers can keep it close, but the Niners, especially if McCaffrey's back and he's even at least like 70% of what he is, it's a wrap.
Yeah.
Like McCaffrey's he's just a different animal, and I'm happy he's going to be back playing football. He's a fun player to watch. He's man, anytime touchdowns, Christian McCaffrey.
Speaking of the Buccaneers, though, after this they have their bye week, and then they'll be in week 12 where they should hopefully have Mike Evans back. Then it eases up a little bit. You got at Giants, at Panthers, home to Raiders, at Chargers, great defense for the Chargers. Offense is starting to put it together. At Cowboys, and Cowboys are super dysfunctional. Panthers and Saints. Like
they traded for Jonathan Mingo. They're good.
If you say that they lose the Chargers in the Cowboys game, let's just say, and they win the rest, that's adding 5-2. You're now a 9-7 team. You're at least in contention, depending how the rest of the season shakes out. You could be a wild card team, and you never know once you get in there. But like, if I'm the Buccaneers, a part of me is like, let's just try to win games, not get people injured. Our odds of doing anything crazy in the playoffs without Godwin, it's going to be tough. Like, we really just need to figure out right now. What we need to figure out is Rachaad White or Bucky Irving. We got to figure out what we're going to do there, and then go from there for next season. But let's move on to a team that no matter what happens in the rest of the season, they know that they are going to be locked and loaded in 2025. And we are talking, of course, about the Washington Commanders, because the Commanders have been on an absolute tear. Jaden Daniels is in serious contention for being Offensive Rookie of the Year and NFL MVP.
I think we can wrap up. He's winning Offensive Rookie of the Year. He would have to go on a horrible streak. Like, he would have to go on the worst streak possible,
or get injured, which we're not wishing upon anybody.
Oh no,
that's the only other option. He's got to suddenly turn into the pumpkin at midnight, or he has to like die. Like one of the two, in order for him to not win Offensive Rookie of the Year. Like, I believe in Bo Nix, but Bo's got nobody out there really to help him. At least Jaden has Terry McLaurin and Zach Ertz. Like,
Yeah.
Bo really has nobody except for Cortland Sutton. He's got wide receivers that are going on injured reserve, and then while on injured reserve, getting shot. That's the wide receiver
Oh,
too for the Broncos. Josh Reynolds. What
why
were
you
you
say
doing?
that about him?
You're on injured reserve. Why are you going to a strip club? What the fuck's wrong with you?
Relieving stress. He's
What
stressed.
is wrong with you?
He's relieving stress. Come on, leave him alone.
So behind Cortland Sutton, I have a 4th round rookie in Troy Franklin, and I have a 7th round rookie in Devon Vele trying to catch passes from Bo Nix. Like, I get that Bo and Troy have college chemistry and all that shit, but like, what are we doing out here? Like, get this man some help.
Right.
The Commanders, meanwhile, are having players actively try to get traded to them and actively thinking, hey, free agency, how much money do the Commanders have? Because I'm going to be willing to take a little bit of a discount while this kid's on his rookie contract to see what we could do. Getting a ring is what we're all here for in this game of football.
Yeah.
Granted, we want to get paid, of course, but, paid and ring is better than just paid. So let's see what we can do. And the Commanders are going to have a lot of money coming into the offseason, and they're going to have a lot of people interested knocking on the door for some of those draft picks because the players are going to be clamoring. This is something we're talking about when we talk about the Patriots having to compete. You could have players who are like, hey, trade me, and I know where I want to go. I want to go from Foxborough down to Andover, Maryland. That's where I want to go. So we have the Commanders hosting the Pittsburgh Steelers, who have, coming off of a bye week, not looked that bad with Russell Wilson as quarterback. George Pickens suddenly has life. Pat Freiermuth looking a little bit better. We got Najee Harris getting some running lanes. Jaylen Warren getting some running lanes. Warren was banged up, but getting running lanes nonetheless. This is a team that is now being able to move the ball very well, and more importantly than just move the ball very well, buy time for the defense. Because when the Pittsburgh Steelers defense is rested, they are one of the most fearsome, if not the most fearsome, defense in the entire league. Right now, the Chargers are considered the best defense in the league, but I think we could all make the argument that the Steelers have enough talent, particularly with TJ Watt and some of those cornerbacks and defensive backs for the Steelers, that it's a fair fight to see who is going to be the best. It's not just shoo-in for the Chargers.
The Steelers are the best. Like,
man, I'm trying to be polite. I would put the Steelers as the best.
Oh, yeah. The Steelers are the best. I mean, they have one of the best defensive players in the league. Guy that is in contention for DPOY. As always, TJ Watt's amazing. And they have that Highsmith guy that's across from him. Hayward, like they're good defense. Like they're fucking amazing. Like they're great. It's going to be a tough battle for the Commanders for sure against a very defense. It's more like I love that the Commanders, like, they saw an opportunity. They're just like, look, there's something with Sarenstall. We like him. But St. Juice and Forbes, these guys stink. Like, some games they'll look good, other games, ass. And they said, you know what? Let's go after one of, and this is a Dan Campbell defense. What does he love? Tall ass corners. Can you play man to man? He did this with Sherm. He did this with Brandon Browner. He did this with who's that guy? Byron Maxwell. He went to Philly. I think that's what's his name. Did this with Maxwell. This is what Dan Campbell wants. He wants big, tall, lengthy corner, man-to-man defense, and you're not going to get any better than Marshawn Lattimore. Lattimore, look, there's a reason why Mike Evans hates Marshawn Lattimore. He knows that he knows how to get on the great receiver skins. He's really, really good at not only just as a player, but he's good at the mental battle of football. And when you have him, you have a great leader like Bobby Wagner, an underappreciated guy, and Frankie Luvu, a guy like Jonathan Allen who's still doing his thing. Your rookies are showing up on defense as well. Deron Payne looks pretty solid. Like, I mean, like, it's a boost to this defense where they saw an issue. They say, hey, look, this Terry McLaurin, Olamed Zaccheaus, and De'Ami Brown combo, it's working on offense. Zach Ertz is giving what we need as a veteran tight end, just knowing like Zach Ertz is just playing like a discount Kelsey for, like, not as athletic as Kelsey. Like, Zach Ertz's athleticism is gone compared to what he was when he first entered the league. But Zach Ertz is like, he's making it easier for Jaden Daniels. When Jaden Daniels is like rolling around and doing the scene, Zach Ertz is like, oh, I'll just sit here and then if Jaden can't find anyone, he'll find me and then throw me the ball. And then defense is just like, it's Zach Ertz. He ain't gonna do shit. Like, look, Zach Ertz may have lost his athleticism, but he did not lose these hands. These
Yeah.
hands still catch footballs really, really well. He has one of the as a tight end, I think he has one of the better hands that you'll see from tight ends ever. Like, he's really good at catching. Like Zach Ertz, that's the one thing that I liked when he was coming out of college. I said, I'm like, I don't know how good he's going to be, but I said, I know he's going to catch it. And Zach Ertz will catch the football if needed. So they just have a good infrastructure. The Steelers look much better. They're playing. Look, the Steelers are playing what Russ loved in Seattle. I'm going to throw a deep ball, or I'm going to throw a check down, or I'm going to hand off the football. That is the Russell Wilson playbook. That's all Russ wants to do. He doesn't want to run Sean Payton's, oh, we're going to run a slant and a stick route and something. Oh, Russell Wilson, he's throwing that ball deep. That's Russell Wilson's game. And it works with what the Steelers have at offense. They added Mike Williams, who's a deep ball guy. Pickens, fast deep ball guy. Calvin Austin, slot receiver, deep ball guy. And if those guys don't get open on the deep ball, he'll just check it down to Warren or Harris. That's how Russell Wilson plays football. Like, if you guys did not watch Seattle, look at that. Look at the years with Tyler Lockett. Look at the years with Doug Baldwin. The reason why you had them on their fantasy teams is because they would catch the deep balls. And that's the main thing Russell Wilson wants his wide receivers to do. Get open, and I'll throw it deep. He still has a really good arm. Like, we thought his arm was toast. No, he just didn't like being told to throw stick routes and slants. He didn't want to do that. That's not Russell Wilson football.
God forbid you try to win, you know?
Yeah, no. Wilson football is deep ball, check down, handoff. Don't do anything stupid. So this is a tough game. I don't know. It's like,
one thing that will make this interesting is no Brian Robinson. They're going to be running with your boy Eckler and Nick Nickel.
What's wrong with this guy? How the fuck did he get shot and come back and play like it's nothing? Now he's all banged up every week. Could you imagine if somehow the Commanders, like, Genty just falls in the draft and he just gets to the Commanders? How fun
there's no way that's going to happen.
But how fun would that be?
No way.
How fun would that be? Daniels and Genty? Oh my god.
I would hate it.
That'd be the greatest backfield of all time.
I would hate it from a fantasy perspective because I have the first overall pick, thanks to some trades in that league, the league I was telling you about.
Yeah.
I have pretty much the guaranteed 101. And so I really want Jonte. If I could go back to back in that league, taking Marvin Harrison Jr. first overall, again, because of trades, and then the next year, first overall, taking Jonte.
Yeah. If you're in Dynasty and you're not taking Genty or Hunter as your first overall pick, I don't know what you're doing. Like, those are the only two people you should even think. Don't even reach for Shador or Cam Ward or any of the other players. Like,
well, I mean, it would depend. It would depend on if you're playing if you're in Dynasty and you're playing single QB or Superflex. If you're playing Superflex, you could make an argument for one of those quarterbacks, particularly Shador. As the one.
So Shador goes to the Saints. Are you choosing him over Genty going to, like, a team that needs a running back?
Well, funny you should mention that, because right now the team that is pegged to get Ashton Jonte at number 11 is none other than the Dallas Cowboys. Taking a running back super high.
I want to live in a world where Genty's on a team like the Commanders with Jaden Daniels, and it's just fun. I want to live in that world.
Wait, hold on. From a watching football perspective, I completely agree with you. Lots of fun. If you're somebody who has the pick, I mean, I know I do, but let's remove me from the situation. Anybody who has the pick, would you want him to go to a team where the quarterback is going to be running the ball as well, and it could be designed runs? No, it's terrible.
Genty's fast. He'll just outrun the defense himself.
Look at the Ravens. The Ravens realize we don't need Lamar to run the ball. We just hand the ball off to Derrick Henry. That's why we signed him. And look at what's happened for the Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah.
Look at the wonderful things.
Yeah, maybe that will happen with the Commanders. They'll say, "Oh, we'll just get a legit running back that's not banged up all the time." I hope Genty turns out well in the pros. He's a fun guy to watch.
But yeah, I think in this one, I am going to. This one is. It's a. I get why the line is so close because this is easily an either like back and forth game because you can have the Commanders trying to chew up clock with long drives, but they also can score really fast the snap of a hat at the drop of a hat. At the same time, the Steelers can also chew clock with Najee Harris, but they also can do these deep ball shots with Pickens, to your point. And the Commanders don't really have the defense to stop that. I mean, granted, they stopped the vaunted greatest offense that a rookie first overall pick has ever stepped into not too long ago when they faced the Bears. But man, this could go either way. I'm gonna take the Commanders simply because I think Jaden Daniels can work enough magic to make this happen.
Yeah.
Who are you taking in this one?
I'm with you. I think Jaden Daniels pulls off more Wizards. He's so good. Like, this is probably, I know there's like a lot of good rookie, like, people talk about Stroud's rookie year. They talk about Baker's rookie year, Herbert's rookie year. But I feel like Daniels' rookie year is just so different. Like, it's like, because like when people were predicting Commanders, we're like, yeah, they're going to suck. Maybe Jaden Daniels will do some fun shit as a quarterback, but they're going to suck. But it's like, Jaden Daniels is doing the fun shit as a quarterback.
And they don't
good. Yeah, they're good. They're a fun football team to watch. They're a good football team to watch. My friend always jokes where he's like, I don't even think Dan Quinn's a head coach. It's like, it's Kingsbury, right? Because they show Kingsbury more. I've never seen a coordinator get more airtime than Kingsbury. Kingsbury, Ben Johnson, he'll get some sideline shots during the Lions games. But I swear, they show Kingsbury more than they show the actual head coach of the Commanders, Dan Quinn. Like, Dan Quinn, it's like, who is this guy? Like, what? Dan Quinn was a Super Bowl coach. He was.
But speaking of, right now, Tankathon being what it be, just taking into consideration the current records, we know that sooner or later, Mike Tomlin's going to be like, this is too many wins. We can't sneak into the playoffs if we are 6-2. This can be one of those games that they drop to start getting to closer to 500. Yeah. But right now, they have the Steelers at pick number 27 and the Commanders at pick number 29. Pick number 29 for the Commanders, they have taking, I'm going to butcher this, but Tuimoloau, the edge rusher out of Ohio State.
Okay.
Guess who they have taking the Pittsburgh Steelers at pick number 27?
Is that Alabama guy? Tyler Booker?
Jalen Milroe.
What? Milroe ain't going that low. Milroe going high. Milroe's top 10. Let a naysayer know. No. That's messed up. My dog Milroe ain't going that low. Come on. We're disrespecting Milroe. What the hell is this?
But let's move from them to teams that right now, on paper, are going to be picking towards the back of the draft to a team that will be picking much closer to the beginning of the draft in the Tennessee Titans, where they will be traveling to face none other than Chase Oliver's favorite team on God's green earth,
the Chargers,
the Los Angeles Chargers. This one is hilarious from a money line perspective.
Yeah.
Mason Rudolph's going to be fighting for his life.
Oh, yeah.
Mason Rudolph is going to be fighting for his life. Calvin Ridley, now is a great time to place a bet on whether or not Mason Rudolph is fighting for his life, so you don't have to play in this game.
I almost went to this game because I thought Will Levis would be playing, and then once they benched him, I said I'm out. I'm not going. I want to see my dog play live. Can you imagine? What funny play would Will Levis do in this game? Like I could just see Will Levis like trying to tackle Khalil Mack and Khalil Mack stiff arms him. What?
Mason Rudolph will not be the one fighting for his life. It will be Will Levis. Yo, you better start looking at ticket prices.
They're not that expensive. I can tell you that for this game. A lot of Charger fans.
You better start looking because as of 9 hours ago on NFL.com and CBS Sports,
Oh,
Titans Will Levis to start in Week 10. Quest to maintain starting job begins versus the Chargers. Sir, I don't think you're going to have a good time.
wow, what a game. And not only do I get to watch my favorite team, but I get to watch my favorite bad quarterback of all time play. This is great. Yeah, no, the Chargers should win this game. Like this is like the Titans defense are good statistically and stuff, but like let's just be real. It's like the Chargers are figuring ways out to score on offense. Herbert is looking much better. Like you can tell the ankle's not bugging him. He's looking really good. Run game is looking good. Dobbins is doing his thing. And then defensively, it's just what a combination for the pass rush. Like it's just like Bud Dupree, Tuli Tuipulotu, Joey Bosa, Khalil Mack. It's like those four just running at you. You got Morgan Fox on the interior, Tyre Tart, like he's been playing well. And then our third safety, Elijah Molden, who was on the Titans. We just said, hey, we'll give you a 7th round pick for him. Cool. And then we got him, and he has been so good for us. He's been one of the best defenders on our team. Like besides our linebacker, I call him White Ranger, kid number 0. Deion Henley. Deion Henley. His nickname is the White Ranger for the Chargers. But Deion Henley, besides Deion Henley, I would say Elijah Molden has been one of the sole MVPs of the defense. And I just got to give Jesse Minter his flowers. Like Minter, I've never seen a Chargers defense like this in my life. Like it's just like amazing how good our defense is. Like it's just like making tackles. Like there's so many plays like in the past, Chargers are not making that tackle. They're not forcing that situation. But man, Minter, oh God, like I kind of want us to start sucking on defense, John, because I'm so afraid Minter's going to get. No, I'm so afraid Minter's going to get poached. I like by a team. A team's going to like him. He's young. He's energetic. He gets people to believe in his system and stuff. And I'm afraid of Jesse Minter. He's going to get a head coaching job soon. Like I hope he pulls a Ben Johnson. He's like, nah, man, I'm loyal to the end. I got to win a Super Bowl first and then I'll go and stuff. I hope he pulls a Ben Johnson or something and just stays with the Chargers. Doesn't take any interviews and stuff. Like, but yeah, no, the offense is looking good. Yeah, like Lads, he's fine. Quentin Johnson.
Let's talk about. So right
Crazy.
now, let's talk about who the anticipated picks are for.
It's like some big O lineman or D tackle. Jim Harbaugh. That's only going to draft in the first round.
Well, right now they've got Abdul Carter, edge rusher, at pick number 9 out of Penn State for the Titans, and for the Los Angeles Chargers,
offensive lineman, big tackle, big guard.
Isaiah Bond, wide receiver, Texas.
What? That's not a Jim Harbaugh pick. You don't run block. I like Isaiah Bond. He's a former Alabama. He got the famous Auburn play, 4th and 27. That was Milroe to Isaiah Bond and stuff. He just transferred to Texas because Texas has money. I don't blame him for him. I appreciate Isaiah Bond, but I don't know. Isaiah Bond's not like a first round talent. I wouldn't mind Isaiah Bond, but
well, don't worry. Don't worry. In the second round, it gets a little bit back to more to Jim Harbaugh.
Yeah.
Because in the second round, they've got the Titans at pick 40, taking Carson Beck, and then they've got for the Chargers Danny Stutzman, linebacker, Oklahoma.
I like Stutzman. He's good. Yeah, Danny Stutzman's one of those guys. He won't get drafted high because isn't he only like 6'1"?
They've got 6'4", they're saying.
There's no way. Oklahoma's lying.
There's no way.
There's no way. I gotta watch Danny Stutzman tape. He's good though. I like him.
It's really interesting because they've also got.
I don't know because Colson. Not to say like that's a bad pick, but Colson is just injured this year, so it's just one of those things like we don't know what he is. And then Perriman, he's been kind of on and off for us. Maybe he comes back for another deal. And then same with and then Troy Dye has been really good for us. So I don't know. I don't think a line like honestly, Chargers should just go big ass D tackle, big ass offensive guard. I'll be happy with that. This receiving free agency is going to be good.
It will be, yeah.
Yeah, like
there's some good names,
and there's going to be veterans that are going to be like, "Fuck it, I'll go play with Herbert for a year." Like, why not? Like, shit. Like,
interestingly, in the second round, they've got the New York Giants taking Quinn Ewers. Quinn Ewers throwing a Malik Neighbors.
Yeah, that's
Kind of-
Quinn Ewers is just Baker Mayfield at home. Like
I mean, yeah, but Baker Mayfield throws a lot. Malik Neighbors.
Yeah,
Malik
I don't think Quinn
can do
Ewers
some damage
is.
with that.
That's crazy that Beck was in the second round. Like, I'm sorry.
He has not looked good.
No, but do you need to understand quarterbacks are overvalued in this in the draft? Like, they're just overvalued. That's just that's the issue. Yeah, that's my thing. That's my thing. Because, like, let's be real, Bo Nix, Michael Penix, JJ McCarthy.
Hey,
like,
you put some respect on Bo Nix's
name. I'm just saying they got drafted in the first round. And they were also projected to be in the second round. Well, Jim Harbaugh hyped up JJ McCarthy to the first round.
I think Bo's a little bit of an outlier, mainly because Sean Payton was absolutely going to take him. Like there was no way around it. It wasn't necessarily that it was the rise of a quarterback because of a quarterback. It was Sean Payton was going to sell out to get.
Also because the Raiders wanted him.
Yeah. But and Michael Penix, that makes no sense still. Like Kirk played fine. And I get it, like, you know, is this a killer? Like, is all that all right, sure, but like, come on, it's still Kirk Cousins. But let's go from Titans, Chargers. Let's go from Los Angeles down to Arizona. Glendale, Arizona.
What is this money line? The fuck is this? What the Jets are the favorite.
You gotta fly, right? You gotta fly from New York to Arizona.
This is ridiculous.
You gotta get on a jet, and sure enough, the Jets are coming down.
They're taking Aaron Rodgers to his favorite place, the desert. He's gonna fucking get lost in the Grand Canyon. Ain't no way he's showing up. What the fuck is this? Is disrespect. Why are the Cardinals so disrespectful?
You know what it is? No, you know what it is? It's because the Jets won against Houston. That's why.
Oh, Houston that didn't have all the receivers.
But that doesn't matter. It was still CJ Stroud. And CJ Stroud's supposed to find a way to win. He should have won that game. He should have won that game. He should have won that game.
We're going to blame CJ Stroud for that. That's ridiculous.
No, we are, because you win Rookie of the Year. You have the best gangbusters rookie season.
Doesn't have his best receiver.
It doesn't matter.
Oh my God.
You are now the franchise quarterback. And we talk about this all the time. What's the primary responsibility of the franchise quarterback? It's to take chicken shit and dog shit when that's what happens, if that's what's handed to you, and find a
short week.
Who doesn't matter?
It matters to me with CJ Stroud, all right?
And look, you were supposed to win the game.
CJ Stroud is my favorite good quarterback. If Will Levis is my favorite bad, CJ Stroud's my favorite good quarterback.
No Nico Collins, no Stephon Diggs.
Yeah, that's on a short week. Stephon Diggs tore his ACL, and they said, "Oh shit, we gotta figure out ways for Tank Dell to get the ball."
Okay, but think about it. Let's say you're playing a game, and it's a close game. And then all of a sudden in the fourth quarter, like
going the Jets the favorite against the Cardinals. Cardinals cut the Bears.
Hold on. Going into the fourth quarter, you lose Nico Collins and Stephon Diggs. Now you got 1 quarter left,
that's on Stroud because he should have scored more points when they had.
Okay, well now hold on a second. Now
they were in the game. They weren't in this game,
sir. Hold on. In that situation, you were coming into the fourth quarter, not knowing that you were going to have, and then all of a sudden you just don't have those people. In this situation, coming into the game, sure, short week, you knew you weren't going to have them already. You had multiple days to figure out a game plan to beat the Jets.
We're not doing this.
Dog shit terrible.
We're not disrespecting CJ Stroud right now. This is ridiculous.
I'm not doing. No, I'm not saying. I'm not disrespecting CJ Stroud. What I'm saying is that he was supposed to win the game, and because he did not win the game, the Jets are now favored against the Cardinals.
No, well, the Cardinals are on a 2-game win streak. What are we doing? Like, this is like so fucking biased towards the Jets. Like, oh my God. Like what?
Because they know that Aaron Rodgers now has Davante Adams, and Davante Adams looks amazing. And because Davante Adams is looking amazing, Garrett Wilson is able to do the goddamn Jumpman logo in the end zone to catch that football.
Yeah.
That's why they are favored. And because the Cardinals can't figure out whether or not they want to be a run-first team or a pass-first team, because there are stretches of the game where they will be running the ball with James Conner, and then all of a sudden it'll be incomplete to Greg Dortch, incomplete to Michael Wilson, incomplete to Greg Dortch, punt the ball. And they cannot establish an actual identity on offense, because you know what name I didn't mention in all of that? Marvin Harrison Jr. They still refuse to throw the ball properly.
They got Trey McBride. That's their guy.
His target share keeps dropping. Well, I'm talking about just wide receivers. His target share keeps dropping. Trey McBride should be getting the targets that he's getting. That's who Marvin should be competing. It should just be him and Trey McBride in competition for targets. But all of a sudden, we got this Greg Dortch guy. We got this Michael Wilson guy. And they're not bad players per se. But that guy is Marvin Harrison Jr., and that guy is Trey McBride. And because the Cardinals are, in essence, sort of dysfunctional on offense because they don't know what their identity is, and then in the fourth quarter, they're like, okay, hand the ball to James, hand the ball to Connor, hand the ball to Connor, hand the ball to Connor. That's why the Jets are favored. That's the reason why the Jets are favored.
Yeah, that's ridiculous still. I don't care.
So, okay, all right. Well, you know what? Who are you taking?
Cardinals.
You're doing that now to be.
I'm taking the Cardinals in this game. No way I'm taking the dude. Like, yes, the Jets beat the Texans on a short week. But this Cardinals team is sneaky good. Like, people are just refusing to believe in them. They're just refusing. Like, look, I get it. Black Ops 2, just Black Ops whatever came out. One of the Call of Duties. Kyler Murray's probably more focused on his KD. Nothing's more funnier than when you watch any Arizona game this year. It's the funniest thing how the announcers are just like John. Marvin Harrison's right here. I would throw a play. It's every step. They'll circle him. They'll go to a replay of him doing something. Like, it's so funny because it's true. It's like, hey man, might as well get this
I will say
this football.
I will say this as to a reason why the Jets should not be favored. I get that Hassan Reddick is really changing that defense, but this Jets defense is suspect.
Yeah, dude.
Sauce Gardner, I never want to hear Sauce Gardner's name in the same sentence as Patrick Surtain II. Again, unless PS2 falls off a cliff, which God forbid, but unless that happens, I never want to hear PS2's name in the same sentence as Sauce Gardner, unless it was Sauce Gardner was asking PS2 for his jersey. Like, that's the only time I want to hear their name in the same sentence. Sentence.
Sauce is just, I don't know if he has like some weird injury because
he's not making tackles. He's not like there was a clear chance for him to make a tackle in that Houston game, and he completely misses it.
Yeah,
and it wasn't a miss in the sense of he took a bad angle on it or something like that.
No, he missed.
It was like an effort play. It was like an effort play. I was like, dude, what are you doing?
Yeah, he just didn't he just go down and he didn't even like wrap up. He just we just went down. Like, what? You got to wrap up, buddy. You got to do the wrap up. You got to do that Sunday night play where the Colts did that. The linebacker did the spine buster on the and Collinsworth loved that. Oh, you know why I respect him? Yeah, not only is he a good player, tackled the right way, Mike. And I was just like, what? What do you don't respect this guy? Who are you talking about, Collinsworth?
If Kyler can get enough time with the returning Hassan Reddick, again, against his old team, that is also a little bit of a factor. I think the Cardinals pull it out.
Yeah.
They're going to have to throw to Marvin Harrison Jr., and Marvin Harrison Jr. is going to have to beat Sauce Gardner in order for them to win. Like,
I think Sauce will be shading him. He might just choose Greg Dortch. You're one of these idiots.
But to follow our theme of looking at this mock draft out of Tankathon, they have the Cardinals at number 20 taking Kenneth Grant, defensive lineman, Michigan, and they have the Jets taking Malachi Starks, safety, out of Georgia at pick number 10.
Malachi Starks reminds me of one guy on the Lions named Brian Branch, so not a bad pickup if they got him.
Not a bad pickup indeed. But let's turn to a divisional matchup. The Philadelphia Eagles, NFC East, travel to Dallas.
This the Brady game? This has to be Brady's calling this game, right?
Probably, more than likely.
Yeah, great. Got to hear that horrible ass. He's terrible.
He's not that great. And you know
Like,
the funny part
I
is,
know people shit on Romo, but at least Romo's still funny. Like, right, and he provides some insight. Brady doesn't do anything. He's just like,
the funny part for me is that they're still gonna air those like terrible ass ads of Tom Brady and they got
oh my
him
god,
in the Michigan uniform and the
they don't believe
Patriots.
in
The
you.
fucking,
They think you're just another guy with a helmet. Yeah, you are. You stink at this. Like, no, because like the thing with Brady is, it's like I want Brady talking shit. Have you heard Sanchez on commentary? Like Mark Sanchez?
not recently, no.
Oh, he's so good because he talks shit. Like he's like that's a terrible play. I want Brady to break down like why this play was good, why this
Right,
is
right.
bad. Like, oh, we wouldn't run this in New England. Like, give me this cocky asshole that won 7 Super Bowls, not this like, oh, I'm some humble. I drink
Oh, you know what it is now.
avocado juice at
You know what it
night.
is now. It's going to be that he can't attend any of the meetings or anything like that because he's the part owner of
I
the.
think that hurts him because he's losing so much information. Like he can't get anything.
But he knows that one, his contract's probably guaranteed, and two, the name brand value alone of Tom Brady is why they're going to keep him around. So why
Yeah,
you don't need to, like, you just phone
no,
it in and get $325 million. Like, why would you bother?
he sucks. Just like Nick Sirianni.
There we go.
He sucks.
Just like Nick Sirianni.
No, Nick Sirianni. Oh my god! Like
Listen,
this guy loves to choke games. It's like in his blood.
The Eagles needed. I kind of say needed. They needed Saquon Barkley to pull off one of the most superhuman moves last week in doing a reverse hurdle.
Yeah.
Could not see exactly who he was jumping over. Could not tell how high he needed to go. Could not tell how far he needed to go. But he still pulled it off because for Saquon Barkley, he is desperately trying to win a ring. And he is like, if I got to put this team on my back, I got to put this team on my back. Because Jalen Hurts has also not looked that great. Granted, there were weeks where he did not have A.J. Brown. There was a week where he didn't have Devonta Smith either. There was some time where he didn't have what's his name? Dallas Goedert either. But Jalen Hurts right now coming into this game, this is I think is gonna boggle your mind. Jalen Hurts has 1,774 passing yards.
Mm-hmm.
Kyler has played one game more than Jalen Hurts, has 1,792, and Bo, who has played one game more, has 1,753. Right behind Bo, having played 8 games, is Justin Herbert at 1,725. And the Chargers are barely throwing the ball.
Yeah, dude.
Like, they're doing it now. They're doing it in the past couple of weeks.
Yeah.
But for the beginning of the season, they weren't. Whereas Hurts has been throwing the ball. And the fact that he cannot make completions and cannot get the ball downfield, it's insane because he also has one of the higher completion rates out of these names that I listed. So I don't know what it is. They're not getting the ball downfield. And maybe that was because A.J. Brown was out. Maybe that was because Devonta Smith was out for a game. Maybe, you really need Dallas Goedert there to help move the chains because Grant Calcaterra isn't a good enough decoy from the fact that you're going to throw the ball downfield. But at least you have Saquon Barkley because right now, Saquon Barkley is second in the league for rushing yards, only behind Derrick Henry. And Derrick Henry at least has the fact that he's played 10 games to Saquon Barkley's 8.
What's Saquon's all-purpose yards this year?
Oh, geez, I don't even it's ridiculous. His right now Saquon's yards per game is the highest in the league for rushing. But rushing right now he has 925 yards, and in receiving he has 146. So a little over 1,000 total yards, and his total touchdowns is 2 receiving touchdowns and 6 rushing touchdowns. So my over under prop that I took on FanDuel of whether he would have over 6.5 touchdowns on the season, it's still definitely in play.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah,
And the question is,
he's an engine, bro. You gotta feed him. You
that's
can't.
that's the reason why this offense is moving, and maybe that's the reason why Jalen Hurts has fewer passing yards. But the question is, can you move the ball when Saquon gets bottled up? If Saquon gets bottled up, are you able to do that? And the Eagles have had a lot of trouble doing that.
Yeah,
The question is going to be whether or not they're going to have that problem against the Cowboys. And I don't think they will, because the Cowboys should be giving up a lot of 3-and-outs. They were giving up a lot of 3-and-outs before, but now Dak Prescott not going to be playing in this game. I think he actually went on injured reserve. It's going to be Cooper Rush starting this game. And Cooper Rush can play. Like, he's played some good games. He's also going to be going up against an Eagles defense that's absolute dog shit. Like, the Eagles defense is ridiculously overrated. Whatever rating they have, they're overrated in that. In what
they're good. They're good fantasy defense because they'll get turnovers.
Yeah.
But in terms of allowing points, God, they're horrible.
They're not great. This could easily be like an ugly game. Like, Saquon's just running all over people. I'm hoping, for the sake of a dynasty game where I have to dig myself out of a 50-point hole against Jamar Chase, which is insane. I'm hoping that Cooper Rush can at least get CeeDee Lamb somewhere in the 20-point range. I doubt it's going to happen, but if there's a shot, sir, you just find CeeDee Lamb. Because really, who else are you going to throw to on that team besides maybe Jake Ferguson?
One of the Jalen kids that they have. They have two of them. Tolbert or Daniels.
Maybe it's Jonathan Mingo. Maybe that's what.
Mingo. Yeah, we forget 4th round pick for Jonathan Mingo. That stupidest trade I've ever fucking seen in my life. I'm like, Jesus Christ. Yeah, give me the Eagles. No Dak. Yeah, actually, Brady's calling the Niners and Tampa Bay game. Thank God.
Oh, that makes sense. California guy won a ring with the Bucks.
Yeah. You can talk about it. You can talk shit again. How that's like, I'm trying to win football games, Baker. Let's see. Stacking, you're gonna love yours. You're gonna have Harlan and Trent Green. Oh, that's a great. They're a great. Kevin Harlan makes any game sound fun, so it doesn't matter.
Well, the beauty of it is I'll probably either have Red Zone on or I'll have the Broncos game on. Mute, because I'll be screaming at my television with I will be the embodiment of they can't keep getting away with this, Aaron Paul.
You know what the worst commentary team is? This is Romo and Nance are calling the Cowboys and Eagles. Oh, that's not good for them.
That's not good.
No, the worst commentary team right now. It's not the Andrew Catalan's fine, but it's Tiki Barber and Jason McCourty. So they do like the 3-man booth.
Yeah,
they're not good at all. Like, they're literally not good at all, because like Tiki Barber's horrible. Like, he's the worst commentator right now. And like, I know we shit on Brady, but I think Tiki Barber's worse. I think he's the worst.
So, all right. So Tankathon, like I said, has Jonty going to the Cowboys. And right now at pick 26, they have Jonah. I am definitely not going to be able to pronounce this last name. Savanea, interior O-line /OT from Arizona.
Sylvania.
Okay, there we go. Sylvania going to the Eagles, because they really got to rebuild that offense.
You know, he played high school football with Tataria McMillan too. you know that story, right? Like,
no, I don't.
So they went to I want to say like Servite in California. The quarterback, him, and a bunch of other players, and Arizona was just like, yeah, y'all come with us, and they all just went there. So they have a bunch of ooses out there, and they have a bunch of future WWE wrestlers out there in Arizona.
Would you consider the Titans and the Broncos roughly on the same level of offensive output?
No, I think the Broncos are better.
Here's why I asked that, because the spread right now for Titans Chargers is Titans plus 7.5. The spread for Broncos Chiefs is Broncos plus 7.5.
They only do that so that way people can't tease the Chiefs. So the thing is, because the Chiefs are playing in a lot of closer games than usual, they give the Chiefs. So This is what the odds makers do. I know because I'm a teaser. Like I love doing my teases. I do not care. Teasers are not dead. Shut up. But when you try to tease the Chiefs, like they won't give the Chiefs a close line unless they're playing a good team.
Mhm.
So the thing is, when they're playing a team like the Broncos, who aren't bad, but it's just more of the fact that the Chiefs could probably keep it close. A lot of people will tease Denver. But the problem is now you would have to like your tease would now be like plus 14.5 or something minus 14.5. So which means like you won't get any money off that tease. So these lines for the Chiefs against these teams that are mediocre, they're made so that way people can't make money off them. That's the reason why. Because let's say if it was Chiefs and Broncos 4.5, okay, I'm teasing that to 7.5 easily.
Yeah,
because I think the Broncos are not losing by a touchdown. So
Yeah.
that's the reason why. And then you don't want to put in, and they don't want it where you can make money off the Chiefs just in general, off money lines because they know the Chiefs aren't going to cover a touchdown win against certain teams. So yeah, this is the odds maker saying we're tired of you motherfuckers making money off the Chiefs. Whether you're betting against the spread with them or betting them to cover the spread, we're tired of you guys. Tired of it.
Well, a game that they think that will still be beneficial for them, but maybe some people can make some money on, is our Sunday night football game. And it's the one we did the background for, guys. It is the Lions, the Detroit Lions, coming in as the best record in the NFC, going up against the Houston Texans, a team that many considered to be a favorite to completely win the AFC and make it to the Super Bowl, especially after they added Stephon Diggs. Well, they're going to be without Stephon Diggs for the rest of the season, but the question is going to be whether or not they're going to be without Nico Collins for another game. He is still currently on IR. They have not activated him. I think they're going to try. They do have the 21-day window open for him, but they need to get him back because Tank Dell, amazing game, but there's only so much Tank Dell can do. Dalton Schultz, good player, but there's only so much he can do. Joe Mixon running his life off in some of these games, but there's only so much that Joe Mixon can do. I mean, Joe Mixon last week, if I remember right from this game log, he has 24 attempts for 106 yards and a touchdown. They still lose the game.
Yeah.
And he is putting this up consistently. Week 1, 159 yards. Week 2, 25 yards. But week 3, 102. Then 115, 102, 106. He is racking up yardage.
Yeah.
And he is trying desperately to help this team win. And now without Stephon Diggs, they might be without Nico Collins. And you're going up against the best team in the NFL.
Yeah.
Like I don't think like Dan Campbell could tell any one of those players on the Detroit Lions, I need you to run through that brick wall and then kill whoever you find on the other side of that brick wall. And they won't even ask him questions.
Oh,
no. They will run through the brick wall and then kill that person on the other side of the wall just because Dan Campbell asked them to. And you have, by far, much respect to Bijan and Tyler Algier, but and Kenneth Walker and Charbonnet and whatever combination you want to list, but you have the best running back duo in the league in Sonic and Knuckles.
Yep.
Monty and Gibbs and Monty, because one Gibbs is Sonic, Monty is Knuckles. This team is built to win. And they don't even need Jared Goff to throw the ball. That's the crazy part because of how good Gibbs and Monty are.
Yeah.
He can have games where he throws like 4 or 5 passes for 42 yards and still gets a touchdown out of it, and they win the game comfortably. And the beauty of it is that even when they go into the tank a little bit, like they have a couple 3 and outs, you never feel as though the Lions are going to lose the game. You feel like they're going to figure out a way to win it. And they do. And somehow it still turns into convincing wins. And it's a weird situation because this defense, not like the greatest defense in the world. You can get some yardage on the Detroit Lions defense. But when they need to stiffen up, they find ways to stiffen up. This is a 7-1 team I don't think it's going to drop to 7-2. I'm taking the Lions in this one.
Yeah, I think the Lions are going to win. I do love the Texans. You guys know I love Stroud, but it's just, the Lions, it's just like one of those teams until someone like really like blows them out. That's when I'll start questioning them. But their only loss is like a close loss to Tampa Bay, and they should have probably won that game. So wait, they have 2 losses, right? 1 or 2? They lose. No, the Lions. They won.
No, they only have 1.
Yeah, to the Buccaneers. Yeah. Why did I think the Cardinals beat them?
Yeah.
They could have at one point. But yeah, no, the Lions. I think they're winning this game. They're a well-oiled machine. They're playing on that level. Just focus on pacing against San Francisco whenever you get a chance. Oh, by the way, forgot to mention about Derek Carr. 31 lost to 31 different teams.
Oh yeah.
So stacking, the only team he has not lost to is the Raiders.
Wait. Who the Saints play this season?
The Raiders.
he can complete it. He can complete the full sweep.
I love it. But yeah, no, the Lions are a really good football team. J-Mo's back. Who knows if they really work him in this week, but he's back from his PED suspension.
You don't even need. They were winning games last season. We're only targeting them 5 times a game.
Yeah. So, but yeah, no, the Texans. It's like they're a good football team. The Texans. It's just one of those things where it's like, when they're down, I don't know what it is. They just become really inept. Like they don't do the right things that they should be doing when they're down. When they're up, they look like a phenomenal football team, one of the best in the league, the Texans. But when they're down, because we've seen the Lions when they're down. When they were down against Minnesota, they came back. They almost came back against Tampa Bay. And the Texans, I don't know what it is. When they're down, they just struggle. They struggled against Green Bay when they were down. They struggled against the Jets when they got down early in that game. So it's just like one of those things, like, I don't know. They're just like missing something. Maybe my guy Stroud's missing
something. For the Texans, I really want to see, especially if they don't have Nico Collins again, I really want to see them start to work Cade Stover into the lineup.
Yeah.
Because you knew you weren't going to have Nico and Diggs, and Cade Stover gets 2 targets last week against the Jets. I mean, he doesn't catch either of them, but like it's a situation where like you drafted this guy because he played with Stroud in college.
Yep.
Like Dalton Schultz is not like he's going to be around. He may be there like another year, another 2 years, but Cade Stover is supposed to be the future of the tight end position. Those opportunities, you don't have Nico, like you might as well see. Like, and the thing is, it's not a situation where it's like, oh, the season's lost. Let's see what we have in this tight end. It's like you don't have an option. Like, who else is he going to throw to?
Yeah, exactly.
Diggs is out, Nico's out. Like, there's only so much Tank can do by himself. Like you're not really throwing a Mechie either. Like who else is really on this team? And you weren't throwing a Xavier Hutchinson either. Who else are you really going to be throwing to on this team? Like, why not? Why not run 2 tight end sets and go from there and see what happens? Because you can in a 2 tight end set you can run out of it or you can throw out of it.
Mm-hmm. I'm with you. Yeah, they definitely need to change it up on offense for them. But yeah, there's something missing with them. They're a good team, but there's something like. They're the team, like, if my Chargers sneak into the playoffs, I hope we play the Texans or the Bills. I feel like if the Chargers get into the playoffs.
Don't disrespect Josh Allen like that. Come on.
They could beat the Bills play down to their level of competition. Josh Allen's going to play like an idiot against
That's true, but yeah, I mean, like look at this stat line for these stat lines from last week. Tank Dell, 9 targets. Yeah. Dalton Schultz, 6 targets. Robert Woods, 3 targets.
I was so shocked he was in the league.
And Cade Stover's getting 2 targets. Like
he made a sick catch too, Robert Woods. So I was like,
no, credit where credit. He absolutely did. That kept the drive alive. I remember that throw and catch. But like my point is, Tank should not be getting 9 because why? Like you can't force feed Tank Dell in a situation where he doesn't have Nico Collins to help him out to divert pressure. Use the fact that you have Dalton Schultz and Cade Stover to move this ball. Like, why not? But anyway, guys, we are now to Monday Night Football.
Oh yeah,
the Dolphins coming to the Rams. They got
Veterans Day.
Yeah, they got to change over. Thank
you for serving, John.
You appreciate the support, but they got to change over. You got to give support to the SoFi field crew because they're going to have to change the Chargers stuff from Sunday to the actual owners of the stadium on Monday. For the Rams, they got to do
process is insane too.
on a short notice, short time period.
Yeah,
because the Rams are hosting the Dolphins, and whoo, Cooper Kupp is back.
Yeah.
If you didn't know, Cooper Kupp is absolutely back. Puka Nacua, though, apparently wants to throw punches at people.
Hey,
and
he's not weak, Goose.
Yeah. And in his defense, it was a classic case of the ref not seeing the instigation, and seeing the get back, and then ejecting the guy who was defending himself because he gets shoved. And now, granted, maybe he shouldn't have punched the guy. Like, I get it, all right, but he felt a little CM Punk in him, and so he decided to punch the guy in the head.
Yeah.
If you're gonna eject somebody, eject both of them. But Puka will hopefully be playing the full 60, all 4 quarters of this one. And on the Dolphins side of things, oh boy, Tua also looking good.
Yeah.
Back. Apparently, he learned how to slide.
Did you see the clip against the Cardinals when he slid and the fans gave like a standing ovation? That's the funniest scene I've seen this NFL season. Like, they acted like that was the greatest scene they've ever seen. I'm like, what?
But it really was. But the Dolphins, they get Tua back and not looking bad. I mean, they still drop that game to the Bills, but I mean, any situation where Tua's got 25 completions on 28 attempts, 231 yards, and 2 touchdowns coming off of a concussion, I'm gonna take that as a win. That works for me because you're working him back into the lineup, and that allows people like the Devin Achans of the world, the Tyreek Hills, the Jalen Waddles, to actually be able to do things, which is crazy because they didn't throw to Jalen Waddle that much. But man, the Rams defense, good but bad at the same time.
Yeah, hit or miss.
They've been very hit or miss, but the question is going to be, were they so hit or miss because of the offense sometimes not being able to move the ball?
Yeah.
Demarcus Robinson did well, Tutu Atwell did well, Jordan Whittington, I'm forgetting the last guy, Tyler Johnson. Doing pretty well, but they're not Puka and they're not Cooper Kupp.
Yeah.
Kyren Williams, continues to be one of the most unheralded running backs in all of football.
Yeah.
Man is doing great work. Every year now, I really wish I could just draft Kyren Williams and somehow, some way in redraft, somebody gets him before I get.
Yeah, he's like the new Joe Mixon. When Mixon was on the Bengals, you're just
right.
Like, oh, wow, he just puts up stats.
And the thing is, you forget that he's there.
Yeah,
he just does what he does very quietly, but he is very consistent. And this one, we have outside of that Patriots-Bears game, you and I have taken the favorites, the favored team in every single game. And it feels a little weird, but a part of it also is I do believe in that Bill Belichick idea of you don't know what you have in a team in September and you're figuring it out in October. But once you hit November, you know what you have. And the Dolphins, I think, because of the Tua injury, are still in that figuring things out phase.
Exactly.
For the Rams, while Cooper Kupp was out and to a lesser degree Puka Nacua was out, you always knew what you have with Cooper Kupp and Stafford. The question for this year for the Rams offense was, could Puka Nacua recreate what he did last year? So there were questions there, and I get that. But when you have somebody as game-breaking as Cooper Kupp and he comes back, it's just, you know what you have. You don't need to have all those game reps. The mind meld that Stafford and Kupp have is absolutely incredible. I can understand why the line is as close as it is because of the fact that Tua does look like he's back and is moving the ball well, and it is a Tyreek Hill, it is a Jalen Waddle, it is a Devin Achane. But I think the Rams win this one. Maybe not like super comfortably.
Yeah.
Maybe by like a 10 points, not like some, like 14 or 17 point win. But even if it's a field goal, I think the Rams win this one. How about you?
Yeah, I think it's going to be the same as all these other Dolphins games these last 2 weeks, where the Dolphins look good. The Dolphins have looked good. It's not like the Dolphins have looked bad. They've actually looked good. It's just the field goal kickers, like the Cardinals' backup kicker, came in and hit a nice long field goal, and then Matt Gay, who's been like hit or miss for the Bills for so many years, he all of a sudden hits this long 50-yarder to win them this big clutch game. So, but the Dolphins have looked good. Like they have looked good, but like you said, like they just haven't had all the pieces, and especially they missed the main piece in Tua Tagovailoa. Tyreek Hill hasn't looked the same. Jalen Waddle hasn't looked the same. I mean, Jalen Waddle, he had the funniest stat line where he had -2 yards and a touchdown with all those receptions and stuff. Because of that last play where he ran backwards and stuff. But yeah, I think the Rams win this game. Like it will be a close game for sure. Dolphins will look good. They'll perform it. Like they really need. Like the Dolphins will win this game if they have the vintage Tyreek Hill game where Tyreek Hill just goes bonkers. It's like fantasy owners are happy. Oh, if you're that fantasy owner, you have CMC and Tyreek Hill. You're just like, finally, these guys show up for me. I don't know how you got both of them. So somehow, some way, Tyreek Hill fell to the second round to you, but
yeah.
But yeah, no, I think the Rams win too. It's just I want to say the Dolphins, but it's just like I like you said, I just don't think they're fully like the Dolphins will be like a spoiler team for a lot of they'll be like that team that pisses off like teams that are trying to make the playoffs because the Dolphins kicked their ass, and you're like, what the fuck and stuff. It's like, well, they were missing the best player on their team in Tua for like the last 4 weeks. It's like kind of hard to move the ball, and Tua looked good. Like the last 2 weeks he's looked really good, but it's just McDaniels is still trying to figure out his rotations at running back and stuff, and he didn't make good adjustments, and Hill and Waddle were playing just bad football the weeks Tua wasn't playing, and still kind of carrying on just a little bit. Not a lot, but just a little bit. So I think the Rams win. They're just a slightly better team right now than the Dolphins. But if there was any chance for a Tyreek Hill breakout game, it's definitely this game against the Rams.
Yeah, it's been kind of annoying for me because I think I told you at the beginning of the season I put a bet down that CD, Tyreek, Justin, and Amon-Ra would all get over 1,000 yards. And it's so I'm keeping a spreadsheet because I'm ridiculous like that with spreadsheets. So it's funny as shit. CD for the rest of the season needs to average 45 yards a game, and he'll break 1,000 yards. Amon-Ra St. Brown for the rest of the season has to average 67 yards a game, and he'll break 1,000 yards because in week 8 he only had 7 yards and they won. It was that Titans game, if I remember right. Do you want to know what Tyreek has to do 69 yards a game every single game in order to break 1,000 yards, which is kind of sad. You know what Justin Jefferson needs to average the rest of the season to break 1,000 yards?
Probably just like 42.
Oh no, sir, that's way too high. He has to average 27.1 yards every game the rest of the season to break 1,000 yards.
Yeah, no, he's been on a tear. His
by week 13, he should break 1,000 yards. He is currently sitting at 783 yards.
Wow,
it's ridiculous. Can you imagine what's going to happen next year with JJ McCarthy?
I don't know. Maybe to keep Darnold.
No, they're not going to keep Darnold. There's no way. There's no way.
Maybe. I think it'll be just as good. I think anyone can be Justin Jefferson's quarterback, and it would be great. He doesn't care. He's just good.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, he just makes everyone better. He's so good.
That's what the greats do.
Maybe the Chargers trade their first round pick for Justin Jefferson.
That's not going to happen.
Yeah, maybe. I don't
know. There's a higher chance. There's a higher chance of Jim Harbaugh trading Justin Herbert for JJ McCarthy
Yeah.
and giving a pick as well or something like that, or getting some picks back from Minnesota.
Can we
And there
just sign
is
T Higgins and I'll be happy?
no, sir. That
Yeah.
wonderful gentleman will soon be learning what it's like to live mile high.
No.
That's what's going to happen.
Maybe we'll play for Jamar Chase. Then I can get a Chase Chargers jersey.
You try to get Jamar Chase, Joe Burrow will American Nightmare go crossroads. Everybody in the Chargers front office.
Maybe that's what Herbert's doing next Sunday night. Hey man, I know things aren't going well. Look, who's got it better than us? Nobody. Who knows? Maybe anything's possible. We have cap space.
That's true. But there you guys have it. This is our picks. These are our picks for week 10. It's going to be some fun football. There are some games here that are going to be pretty interesting to watch, even if they are interesting to watch from the train wreck perspective. Like, I really want to see, actually, even if Trevor Lawrence is playing, I really want to see this Jaguars-Vikings game. That's going to be fun to watch. I want to see Derek Carr.
The Vikings are a fun team to watch just in general, so I have no problem watching them.
Which wide receiver is Derek Carr going to try to kill on the Saints team?
Oh, God. That was the worst hospital ball he threw to Chris Olave.
That hurt my heart. But also, before we get out of here, Texans, right? They've got them at pick 23, taking Deion Walker, defensive lineman out of Kentucky. They've got at pick 31, the Lions left tackle Overton. LT Overton, edge out of Alabama.
He's okay.
They've got the Rams. Where do the Rams go? They've got the Rams taking Ariante Ursary, offensive tackle, Minnesota.
I haven't watched much tape on him.
Well, I mean, if I remember right, the Gophers are a pretty run team, so that makes it tiring.
Yeah.
And then they've got the Dolphins, thanks to these losses that they've been taking. Kelvin Banks Jr., offensive tackle, Texas.
He's good. I'm surprised none of these Indiana guards are going up on the draft boards. Because Indiana's undefeated and they have a pretty good offensive line.
Well, let's look at the teams on bye. So Cleveland, they've got taken Shedeur Sanders. Green Bay is next, right? So Green Bay, they've got them taking Siobhan Ravel Jr., cornerback, East Carolina.
I haven't watched much tape on him. Sounds like a baller, though.
They got the Raiders taking Cam Ward, Miami, and Seattle. Where is Seattle? Seattle taking James Pierce Jr., edge rusher, Tennessee.
He hasn't had a good season, but I'm calling this it's what Will Anderson did his last year, where it's like, I'm already going to be a top 5 pick. And Will Anderson took he was still good for Bama his last year, but he was not as good as the year before. So Will Anderson, he was like, I will play. I'll show him a team player. But I ain't going to go crazy. Because Will Anderson, his sophomore season, oh my goodness, one of the best college defensive players. And then his junior season, it was just like, just kind of waiting to get to the draft. Just want to be in the NFL. He was just like, I just want to be in the NFL. That's James Pierce, but James Pierce has done it way worse, where he's just like, I ain't trying for the shit. He did in the Alabama game. He played well in that game, but he's still good. He's going to be good in the pros. James Pierce is going to go on the lines of all these top edge rushers fall for no reason, and then he does really, really well. So, yeah, that'll be a good pick for Seattle, James Pierce Jr.
And there's a name that we didn't talk about from the draft because we forgot, or I forgot, not you, that team. But the Buccaneers at pick 14, Luther Burden III.
Oh, what a waste. I don't know. He hasn't had a good season. In my mind, Burden hasn't looked.
Well, I mean,
he hasn't looked like a first rounder. Second round, I'll take him.
Mizzou has not really been throwing the ball very well. I think that's a little more of a function of the quarterback than.
The quarterback's supposed to be good too, which is crazy. He's supposed to be really good, and he's fallen off a cliff. So, Burden's still good. I just wouldn't put him in the high teens. I would say late 20s, early second round for sure for Burden. Because Burden's kind of been having like he just hasn't been like the same player as like last year. Last year was phenomenal, but this year he's been kind of just okay. Not like McMillan. McMillan, yes, has dropped off his stats compared to last year's crazy stats, but he's
Yeah.
still a beast. Like it's like you can't say no to that guy.
But offensive players listed right now for the second round that annoy the shit out of me. They've got at pick 34, the Saints taking Colston Loveland. That will make me really sad.
He should be a
They've
first
got,
rounder.
well, I mean, I want him to be a Bronco. They've got the Raiders taking Ollie Gordon II from Oklahoma State.
He hasn't looked good.
They've got the other tight end that I would want if Loveland isn't a Bronco, Tyler Warren, going pick 42 to the Jets, which, I mean, I guess Conklin has not been that reliable, so might as well get an upgrade at tight end. Then they've got Omarion Hampton going to the Broncos, which I'm like, I get it because, Javonte may not be there, but
Yeah.
I don't know if Denver necessarily needs running help that much.
Dang,
And
Judkins has fallen that low. Jesus.
Judkins, they've got him at pick 44 for the Bengals, but I mean, Chase Brown, don't look now. Chase Brown may be securing that job after Thursday. They've got Trey Harris from Ole Miss going 58 to the Steelers.
That'd be a steal.
They've got Evan Stewart going pick 61 to the Bills.
He fell off, man. I don't know what happened. He should be a first round talent, but he's not. He hasn't been playing like it. But he has speed, so he will get drafted high just based off that. So maybe there. No, you know what? That's like a Colts player, just like some fast idiot for Richardson to throw to. Love it.
They've got Elick Iomanor, wide receiver Stanford, going to the Commanders at pick 62.
Yeah, he's okay. He's fine. He does his thing.
And then we've
They don't have any. They don't. Do they have the? There's a UNLV kid I like. His name is White. I like him. Amari White or something like that. He's good.
So I'll look for him. But they got Travion Henderson going to the Giants in the third round.
Okay.
They've got Jalen Royals, Utah State, going to the Raiders in the third round. Kyron Lacey, LSU, going to the Bengals. That's just very on the nose. They've got Jalen.
Got to find Jamar Chase's replacement.
Jaden Higgins, Iowa State, going to the Packers. How many more wide receivers do the Packers need?
Jaden too.
Caden Prather, wide receiver Maryland, going to the Ravens.
I like Prather a lot. I think he might soar up some draft boards.
So I don't see. This is only to 101.
Okay. Maybe this guy's not. I didn't check his class. Receivers.
You know what's interesting?
He's been balling.
What do you think about this one? Drew Aller, third round, Miami.
Not bad. He'll be the best. He'll be a good backup for. He'll be a good backup. What's wrong with that? No, he's better than what Skylar Thompson sucks.
Oh yeah, and then they had Mike White in there too.
Oh, Ricky White the third, senior from Mariota, Georgia. I like him a lot.
Well, maybe he will. Shoot.
He went to Michigan State. He's good. He's really good. I'm surprised they don't have any of the Miami receivers high. They're like really good.
Oh, yeah, hold on.
You would think they're good if Cam Ward's throwing to them.
I mean, yeah, he's the only Miami player in the top 100 of the draft.
That's interesting, huh? Very interesting.
But guys, there you have it. Those are our picks for Week 10. We will be back in Week 11. Let you know how we did. Let you know what we think about Week 11. Chase, let the people know where they can find you, sir.
Well, you guys can, if I'm available, you guys can find me on the Around the Point Network, or anytime I can fill in for Romeo for True Hill Heat, the Raw Show, and whenever we do reactions on this channel.
And guys, you can always catch me here on True Hill Heat Sports and Entertainment. breaking down every week's picks. I got to talk to Romeo about our watch along our watch along schedule. But thank you guys for tuning in. Remember, hit that like button, subscribe if you have not already. We appreciate all the support. And until next time, take care of yourselves and each other, and we'll catch you all later.